Your Excellency very impressed by this style of management. Akiamua ni hapa, hata kama ikuta anapitia hapa. Why are people quiet? Watoto wanakufa, they are zombies. There is a serious crisis at the coast. The leadership is quiet. Nimesikia at least Moha mjumbe wa Nyali, huyo nimemsikia akiongea, na Captain Reda nimemsikia akiongea. I have heard her speak. That I want to confirm. Our leaders are quiet. Why are leaders in coast quiet as our young population is being killed and destroyed by drugs? Why are some not here? This is a very important conference to discuss the very existence of our population in this region. This is a conversation that every elected leader should be part of because it's a serious problem. So that is a question I want to pose to our elected leaders. We want to hear you more. Tunataka tusikie mkiongea. Because leaders are very important because they represent the people. Unless the leaders are telling us there is no problem. Nyinyi mkituambia hakuna shida, mimi na profesa tu kuna kazi nyingi sana ya kufanya. Kama hakuna shida kwa sababu mmenyamaza, mbona sisi tuna insist iko shida na wenye hapo wana kimya kama hakuna shida? Sio kama iko shida. Why are the leaders quiet? Why? It is very worrisome. Nobody has called us to say hapa iko shida. Iko nini kwani? I want to be very candid kwa sababu mimi ni mtu ya kusema ukweli. Na mimi kama mnaogopa hao drug peddlers, mimi siwaogopi. Hata huyu profesa wangu hawaogopi. Hata huyu IG hawaogopi. Hatusikii nyinyi. We don't hear you. Why don't you help us in oversighting our security agencies and tell us where there is a gap? Mukinyamaza, tutajuaje pahali iko shida? So I'm calling upon leaders from today, tafadhalini, mtuambie ile maneno tumekubaliana hapa na maofisa ya serikali kama inafanyika, kama shida inapungua ama inaongezeka. You know, I was in Nandi on Sunday, and the leaders there were telling me, Deputy President, since you are here, there is 70% improvement, lakini imebaki 30%, area fulani, area fulani, area fulani. Leader after leader, they are telling us they are doing an audit because they are concerned about the lives and the health of their people. Kwani watu ya pwani wanakilishwa na nani? Watoto wanakufa, watu wamenyamaza. Tumeitana hapa mkutano, tuongee shida iko hapa Mombasa. Wengine hawako. Wengine wako. Nani atazungumzia hii watu? Elected leaders represent the people. So that your role of representation, you tell us what our people require. Again, oversight, you tell us we have a weakness in that for this police station. We have a problem in courts. Siku tumeenda Kirinyaga, viongozi wenyewe ndio wanatuambia hii mtu alishikwa tarehe hii akawachiliwa. Alishikwa tarehe hii akawachiliwa. Shida iko kotini. Viongozi ndio wanasema. Hapa tumekimya. And there are two conclusions. Either hamuna haja na watu wamechagua nyinyi, ama wengine you are part of the problem. Those are the two conclusions. Because there is no other way of explaining it. Kama vile mnaongeaga mambo ya mashamba, the squatter problem, because hiyo mnazungumza sana na tunamsikia, and we are addressing it because you talk about it. Muongee mambo ya mihadarati with the same passion, with the same commitment, so that we know where the problem is, tusaidie. Sisi tuko tayari kusaidia, but we cannot win this war without leaders. So I'm calling upon the leadership of Coast Region to be part of the solution and to work with the government so that we can deal with this problem so that we protect the people who elected you and whom you have a responsibility to safeguard and think about their well-being. Our officers, the truth of the matter, we are not doing well. Let us accept. And the beginning of solving a problem is to accept where there is a weakness. Hii Mombasa, hii Lamu, hii Kilifi, hapana, hapana. Hii madawa inauzwa kila pahali. And the chief, the national government, the CS will speak, will tighten things. And we have agreed, because it's important that I explain, as a government, as a new policy, we are not going to transfer officers who have failed to perform their work. That we have agreed. And I think it's a good decision, because every county is part of Kenya. So if you fail in Mombasa, what is the wisdom of taking you to Kisumu? There's no wisdom. If you fail in Taita Taveta, what is the wisdom of taking you to Kajiado? This is the same country, the same government, it's the same people. We are not going to transfer failure. We are not going to transfer problems. We deal with failure in the way failure should be dealt with. Kama kazi imekushinda basi peana nafasi nyingine kuja fanya. I want to say we will be very firm. We will be very firm. And the president is very clear that we cannot have our country ruined by drugs and alcohol when we have officers in government in uniform. So kila mtu anatoa miguu kwa gunia. County commissioners are in charge, chair the county and intelligence committees, the DCCs chair at the county level. Kila mtu mkirudi kwenu mpange kazi yenu, so that when now we start taking action, you don't find yourself in an awkward situation where you are being punished and disciplined for failing to perform your duties, which you know very well and are clearly spelled out in your mandate. Much as we want to listen to the problems that are there, we want to get solutions for you people. On our area, we admit there is a weakness. Kubaliana na Professor Kindiki and IG and everybody else, and yetu sisi tutarekebisha. Ile naomba ni viongozi pia mtusaidie. Msituachie hii vita peke yetu, kwa sababu hawa watu tunajaribu kukinga wasikufe ni watu wenu na ni walichagua nyinyi. Hata nyinyi mko na jukumu, tusaidiane. Usiseme hii ni kazi yetu, tutafanya hii kazi yote pamoja, kwa sababu bila nyinyi hii kazi itakuwa ngumu. Na kwa hivyo tungetaka mtusaidiane, muongee na mkuwe mkituongelesha. Ningefurahi sana kuona delegation ya viongozi kutoka Pwani imekuja na memorandum imeandika pahali yote iko shida na who is the problem. I will be very happy. But I have not seen anything like that. But from other regions, I see. It's only Captain Reda who has been telling me kuja iko shida. Na huyu kuja iko shida. Wengine tulikutana, shikamoo, shikamoo. Kuja Pwani upumzike. Wale kwa beach iko hoteli mzuri. Wengine wamenyamaza. Sisi na iko shida. Sababu sisi ni watu ya hii town, tukija tunatembea tembea hapa. Iko shida. Let us not behave like there is no problem. Unless mnatuambia viongozi hakuna shida, sisi tuvuke virago tuame. Twende mahali iko shida Kenya. But there is a big problem here. And we are staring at a catastrophe. In another 10 years, if we go this way the way we are going, there will be no population here. Everybody will be finished. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niseme asante. Tunataka tufungue mkutano. Let us speak openly and candidly. We have not come here for blame game. We want to look for a solution. Tunataka kutafuta solution. So wacha watu ya Nakada watuambie what is the situation, so that those who are not aware wajue iko shida. Then officers wapewe nafasi wasungumuze. Administration wapewe nafasi wasungumuze. Viongozi wapewe nafasi wasungumuze. Mawaziri hao wetu wasungumuze. Then finally tukubaliane what is the way forward. How would we allow this situation to continue? What is it that we can do together, jointly, working in cooperation with synergy to save our young children from extinction? Because if we proceed the way we are proceeding, we stay at a very bleak future for this region, which is very important for our economy, which is a transit point for our cargo, which is a very important tourism destination. It's a region we must protect from all fronts so that we have a good environment and we have healthy people and a healthy population who can boost our tourism, who can assist in the port of Mombasa, because there are very many economic activities that take place around. I invite you to a very candid discussion. Poleni sana kama nimekubarusa pahali unisamehe. I'm just a truthful person, and I'm like that, and I cannot change. I'm 58 years. Siwezi badilika sasa. Ziniaze mambo ya uongo ya kupaka watu mafuta. Mimi sasa nimepita hapo. Kwa sasa ukiwa wewe ni mtu ya kusema ukweli, at this age you cannot change. So others wanasema nimewaingilia, it's okay. Lakini nimesema ukweli. Na hii ukweli hufichiki. Hata ukificha utaonekana. Kwetu there is a saying, sijui kama iko hapa Pwani. Mimba hata ukificha, hata ukifunga na leso isionekane. Inafika pahali ikifika mwezi 7 lazima ionekane. I don't know whether there is that saying here in the coast. Iko? Sasa kuna pahali kwetu tunasemaga sasa imepoteza nguo. So hii situation ya hii madawa imefika hapo. Imefika hapo. It is clear. Iko pale. So hata mkinyamaza, hata mtaki kuongea, problem iko na imeonekana. We must confront it head on. And the problem of the coast is not like any other. It is hard drugs. Hard drugs. Very serious problem. Very serious problem, even internationally. It's actually an international crime. So tutamulika hii Pwani. Tutamulika vizuri. Kama utapatikana wewe pia, hata kama wewe ni kiongozi na uko hapo, pole. But we are going to focus on it. Because hata nyinyi kama hamuna shida watoto wenu wamalizwe, hii dawa pia inakuja pahali nyingine where Kenyans are concerned. So we must deal with this problem conclusively and in a very ruthless manner, because that situation cannot be allowed to continue. Because it's not healthy for the country, it's not healthy for the people of this region, it's not healthy for the people of Kenya. Asanteni sana. I look forward to a very healthy discussion. Asante.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais. Ikiwa ni msimamo dhabiti wake Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais dhidi ya pombe haramu na dawa za kulevya. Sasa tukiingia katika awamu ya pili, ambapo ameshaashiria kwamba itakuwa ni majadiliano ya uwazi, ikiwa ni wote ambao wameketi hapa kutafuta suluhu kufuatia swala hili. Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais, tutakuwa tunaongozwa naye Bi Ann Ngetich ili tuweze kusikia jumbe tofauti tofauti kutoka washikadau wote walio hapa. Karibu Bi Ann Ngetich ambaye ni katibu wa utendakazi katika Wizara ya Usalama.
The Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, intifaki zote zilizowekwa, for the interest of time, mbiu ya mgambo imelia, sio? Imerira. Na ikilia, kuna jambo. So tunashukuru sana, Your Excellency the Deputy President, for giving focus to this region as well. You've made it very, very clear. You have set the pace, this being the 4th region. And I think the clearest message, colleagues, is that as soon as, I know Your Excellency, you asked if leaders here have no problem, but we've come with facts to show the gravity of the problem. And we will spend about 1.5 hours to paint the true picture in this region. And so right away, we'll start with the lead agency. We'll also be able to hear from other agencies who are concerned with these issues, drugs and illicit drugs, brews, and substance. These are facts. Facts do not lie. Figures do not lie. So I urge all of us, the conference here, to pay maximum attention so that those of us who will have an opportunity to make their input, you do that alongside the facts that are about to be unveiled to us. So quickly, we are going to ask to hear from NACADA, just remarks from the CEO first, and then you move on straight to make your presentation on the status of illicit brew, alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse in Coast Region. CEO NACADA, please come over.
Thank you, Boss. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, I wish to apply myself to the preceding protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is indeed a very great day, which marks a very key milestone in our fervent effort to fight against alcohol and drug abuse. This menace is slowly creeping in as a threat to the survival of this country. Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to thank you for setting the tone at the top and leading from the front. For us, your lieutenants, all we can do is make sure that this is a success and totally obliterate this menace of alcohol and drug abuse. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my CS, Professor Kindiki, for your strategic guidance in dealing with this menace. I'd like to recognize the PS for hand-holding the multi-agency team in terms of facilitation and leadership. Your Excellency, I didn't walk alone. I'd like to acknowledge with your indulgence the presence of Chair and Matthew NACADA. I'd like to recognize the presence of board members Alhaji Olenado, Ali Swale, and Dr. Mare. I also came with the management team that made this function a success. I'll just call the top management. I'd like to call upon Dr. Orlando. She's the one in charge of programs in NACADA. I'd like to acknowledge Koske. He's the one in charge of compliance and supply suppression. I'd like to recognize the presence of Mr. Mwangi. He's a corporate communication lead. And lastly, and very importantly, I'd like to recognize the presence of George Karisa, who will take us through the outlook of alcohol and drug abuse in the country. George, karibu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is George Karisa. I'm the Regional Manager, NACADA, here in Coast. I'm going to take you through the situation of alcohol and drug abuse in this region. First, I want to concur with the Deputy President that Coast region has greatly been affected by young men wasting themselves in drugs, cheap labor, and its related effects. To be frank, the situation is very bad in this region. As we have heard, out of the 26,000 IDUs, injecting drug users, 18,000 of them are from coast. That is from Kilifi, Lamu, Mombasa, and Kwale. So the problem is such that big, that needs all concerted efforts of everyone. We usually do surveys as a lead agency every 5 years. And the last survey that we did, that was in 2022, she indicated that the prevalence of any substance of abuse, alcohol, cat, or tobacco in this region is higher than the national rate. That means we are looking at every substance of abuse. The national survey, the national prevalence rate is lower than what we have here in the region. The region is largely affected by hard drugs like heroin, bang, and of course mbuka, especially the four counties, the coastline counties of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, and Lamu. So here huwa tunasema the problem of drugs imefika tunasema ni bomba sugu sasa. We need to do something to this problem. The age, of course, the age mostly affected by this, the problem of alcohol, according to the survey which we did in 2022, is between 15 and 35 years. This is a very productive age group, na tunaona kwamba inaangamia na mihadarati. So according to the survey which we did, we were looking at those people who have used at least one drug of substance. That means either mtu ameshawahi kutumia bangi, tobacco, alcohol, any form of substance use. So when you look at the findings that we had, the national rate was 17.5%. That is the national rate, preference rate, for those people who have used at least one type of a drug, at least moja hapo. The prevalence rate was 17.5. But when you compare it with the cost prevalence, is that cost prevalence rate was 18.1 for those people who have used at least one type of a drug, whether ametumia bangi, sigara, pombe, heroin, ni 18.1. That means our prevalence rate, our regional prevalence rate, iko juu kuliko the national prevalence rate. Alcohol, as had already been mentioned by the Deputy President, the national prevalence rate of alcohol equal 11.8, but cost is at 13.9. So hapo bado tuko juu above the national prevalence rate. Tobacco, and with tobacco, hapa tunaongea kuhusu tobacco and tobacco products, including akina kuber, akina shisha, and shisha, Your Excellency, has also been a problem in this region. Shisha has been outlawed. But we still have a few places where watu wanavuta shisha, but we are working towards addressing that problem. So when you look at tobacco use, the national prevalence rate was 8.5, while the regional for cost now was 10.8. So already we are above the national prevalence rate. Cats, with cats here we are including Miraa and also Muguka. So the national rate, the prevalence rate was 3.6, while the regional prevalence rate was 4.8. Cannabis, we were at, the national prevalence rate is 1.9, even at the regional prevalence rate is also 1.9. So the region is doing badly as far as consumption of alcohol and drugs is concerned. When you look at what we call potable spirits, this is what is the wines and spirits. From the survey findings, Coast region is second from Central. Central is the prevalence rate for Central was 4.1. Coast was second with 3.2%. And of course, the national consumption rate for potable spirits was 2.5. So the national prevalence rate was 2.5 for potable spirits, but the coastal rate was 3.2. As the Deputy President had mentioned, we have a serious problem of hard drugs here. we have a problem with hashish, cocaine, and heroin. So when you look at the survey findings, the national prevalence rate for these hard drugs was below 0.1%, but for the coast prevalence rate, hashish was 0.4%. That is above 0.1. Cocaine was 0.9, and then heroin was 2.3. So hashish, cocaine, heroin, all of them as a region, we were above the national prevalence rates. So that is the situation as far as alcohol and hard drugs is concerned. So as leaders, we need to do something before we lose our whole generation. When you look at the issue of illicit brews, I'm also going to mention about the hotspots for illicit brews and other drugs. We have worked very closely with the National Government Administration and other government agencies like KRA, KEBS, and the Counterfeit Agency, and of course even the county government. And we have identified hotspots for illicit brews. And I'm going to mention these hotspots as per county. Starting with Tana River County, when it comes to illicit brewing, we have a number of hotspots in Tana River County, like a village called Bikinduni, Malindi Angwena, Kone Village, up to Kambiamoto, Boji, Mororo, and Madogo. Those are illicit brewing hotspots in Tana River County. In Mombasa County, we have illicit brewing hotspots, that is in Chuda Moroto. For those who come from Mombasa, they understand this. Kachonjo, Kisiwi, Mtopanga, Bakaren, Mlaleo, Kashani, Junda, all the way to Bokole, Magongo, Bangladesh, and even Alidina in those sides of Miritini. In Lamu, we also have illicit brews hotspots, that is at Wioni, Manda Maweni, Mararani, and Busi Wengi. In Taita Taveta, we have a number of illicit brews hotspots from Mkuki, Kumtanga, Soko ya Zamani, Maweni, up to Wichichu village, in Choke sublocation. And in Kwale, the hotspots are Bombani village, Barabarani, Mivumoni, Mwabungo, up to Kasemeni. Those are the illicit illicit brews hotspot. We also have bank hotspots in these counties. Starting with Kwale, we have Lukore Center as a hotspot for bank consumption. Manyata still in Kwale, Sererani, up to Horohoro border. In Taita Taveta, we have bank hotspots from that is at Taita Matate town, Mkuki, Burandogo, up to Sungululu. In Mombasa County, the hotspots for bank are the Old Town, Kachonjo, Shanzu, Bamburi, Utange, Kadogo, Bombolulu, Magongo, and of course Bangladesh and Mtongwe. In Lamu County, we have Mbusi Wengi, Hindi, Wioni, Mkomani, Langoni, Kipungani, Matondoni, Mararani, and Manda Maweni. Those are the hotspots for bank consumption. When it comes to the hard drugs, that is heroin, we have in Kwale, we have Vigujini village, we have a place called GFS, Mwabungo, Darling, Mbuani, and Momamba. In Lamu County, the heroin hotspot is Kijitoni in Langoni location. In Mombasa County, the hotspot for heroin is the Old Town, Chuda, Majengo, Kingurani, Ganjoni, Kuze, Chaani, Magongo, Bangladesh, Mlaleo, Kisauni, and Mtopanga. In Kilifi, the heroin hotspots are Mnarani here in Kilifi town, Shela in Malindi, and Watamu. Your Excellency, last year between January and December, we worked very closely with the National Government Administration, and we were able to seize a number of illicit brews, that is a number of liters for illicit brews in this region. In Mombasa County, we were able to conduct 275 raids, and in total we seized 128,807 liters of assorted illicit brews. And this included Chang'aa, Kangara, Mnazi, Muratina, Busaa, Matingasi, Magasha, and Bangara. That is in Mombasa County. We seized a total of 128,807 liters. In Kwale, we were able to seize Mnazi and other traditional brews, totaling to 25,857 liters. In Kilifi County, we were able to conduct 31 raids there, and we were able to seize a total of 8,272 liters of assorted illicit brews, including Kangara, Chang'aa, and of course Mnazi. In Taita Taveta, we conducted 512 raids, and we were able to seize a total of 25,005 liters of assorted illicit brews. In Tana River, we conducted 25 raids, and we were able to seize 700 liters of assorted traditional liquors. And in Lamu, we conducted 259 raids, and we were able to seize a total of 8,385 liters of mkoma and other traditional brews. When it comes to the hard drugs, bang, heroin, cocaine, we were able to seize in Mombasa County 36 marijuana. We uprooted 36 marijuana plants, and then we are able to seize 87 big rolls of bang, and heroin. We were able to seize 2 sachets of heroin. In Kwale, we were able to seize 65 rolls of bang. In Kilifi, that's where we had the largest seizure of hard drugs, where we were able to seize 504 rolls of bang. We uprooted 367 marijuana plants. We were able to seize 838 kilograms of bang and 1,113 sticks of bang. We are also able to seize 96 sachets of heroin and 1 kilogram of heroin plus another sachet of 50 grams. In Taita Taveta, we were able to seize 295 rolls of bang. In Lamu, we were able to seize 31 rolls and uprooted 797 cannabis plants. Cocaine, we were able to seize 26 sachets, and then we were able to seize 30 grams of heroin and 10 grams of cocaine. On ethanol seizure, in collaboration with KRA, we had 2 seizures. That is one during the month of May, where 10 grams of ethanol was seized at Kibanda Asara along the Taveta border. And another one was seized in October, where 36 grams of ethanol were also seized, and the suspects were apprehended and taken to court. We also, in collaboration with the National Government Administration and the other government agencies, that is KRA, CABS, and counterfeit agencies, we were able to conduct a crackdown on liquor selling outlets, that is the inspection of liquor selling outlets, and a total number of 272 outlets were inspected. The total number of alcohol selling outlets closed due to non-conformity was 103. Non-conformity, maybe this could be they were operating without valid licenses. Others were operating in residential areas. Others were operating near land institution. That is the 300-meter rule. So there are several parameters which you are looking. And I want to thank all the other multi-agency teams that we work together in conducting these crackdowns. Your Excellency, as we are fighting this menace, we have been encountering a lot of challenges, and it is important that I highlight some of the challenges that we have been encountering. And one of the challenges is corruption. Your Excellency, some law enforcement officers are abusing alcohol and drugs, and some dishonest law enforcement officers also collect protection money from illicit brewers and drug peddlers. This is a challenge which needs to be addressed. And of course, we have cases where there are some officers engaging in licit or illicit trade of alcohol, especially via proxy, whereby an officer operates a bar using a spouse. So enforcing the law sometimes becomes a challenge when the bar owner is related to the law enforcement officer. We also have a challenge of lack of community ownership in the fight against alcohol and drug abuse in this region. There is a lot of information relay and leakage. There is lack of information sharing by the community for fear of victimization. That one is also contributing to making our campaign a challenge. And of course, we also have, sometimes we get threats from some dealers who are violent and dangerous, posing a threat to enforcement officers. We also have another challenge where there is proliferation of Defense Forces Canteen Organization products in the public markets, especially alcohol products that are a preserve of the disciplined forces in respective canteens and mess. This is where we have alcoholic beverage products being sold, but they are from the military, especially places like Mariakani, where when you are doing our inspection, our normal inspection of crackdowns, we found some outlets are selling beers ambazo zimetoka from the barracks. And this has posed a challenge when it comes to enforcement. We also have another challenge of advancement in distribution methods, where there is transportation of drugs using high-end vehicles, and some illicit alcoholic products are packaged and distributed in unconventional ways, forms such as stuffing of boxes in sacks, sale using jerry cans, affixing caps with stamps from licensed manufacturers. The other challenge is the issue of inadequate resources, Your Excellency. There is inadequate equipment, materials, and expertise. For example, a lack of sniffer dogs to enable officers manning roadblocks to detect drugs hidden in the vehicles. The other challenge that we are facing, Your Excellency, is topographical terrain, where the terrain of the land which makes it impossible to stage unnoticed operation. And in most cases, officers are spotted from far by the peddlers and users. We also have the problem of porous borders, all out from Kwale to Lamu. Along the coastline, we have a problem there. The porous maritime border where drugs come in through the coastline, there are many unmanned and official mini harbors and fish landing sites along coastline where drugs can be dropped without notice. Kwa hivyo hapo tumeona kwamba there's a very big challenge because manning the whole the coastline all the way from Vanga to Kiunga has really been a problem. So these guys take advantage ya kuingia through the panya routes along the coastline to collect drugs into the region. There's also the problem of weak licensing and enforcement. Licensing of the outlets by the county government without, this is one of the problems where, because liquor license is now devolved, is now being done by the county governments. But there are situations where we find alcoholic selling outlets operating even without an inspection being conducted, but they have been issued with license by the county governments. This is a problem which I've been facing here in Mombasa, in Kilifi and also in Kilifi County, where we get outlets without even an inspection that have been issued with the liquor licensing. There's also mushrooming of alcoholic outlets, including wines and spirits shops in undesignated areas. And of course, we have bars operating without valid licenses, while others operate beyond stipulated hours. This is a problem specifically here in Mombasa County, in those areas of Bamburi, and of course in Kilifi County, in Mtwapa and Malindi town. Guys are operating beyond the stipulated operating hours. There's also sale of substandard alcohol and in unhealthy conditions, because in most places the public health departments have not given a go ahead for these premises to be given a license. But at the end of the day, we just find these guys have been issued with licenses. So there's a big problem when it comes to licenses of these premises. And of course, lack of involvement of administrative and law enforcement officers by the liquor boards to enhance enforcement. We also have a problem in the judiciary, where there's long judicial processes. For example, taking exhibits to government chemists takes a long time for the outcome to be received. And in some cases, there is political interference in licensing and bailout of offenders. And of course, we also have the problem of inadequate rehabilitation facilities. As Your Excellency, you had mentioned, we only have 2 public rehabilitation centers here in the region, one in Miritini and the other one in Kombani. And the number of people who have been addicted is very high, so the 2 facilities cannot cope with that number. So we need to work very closely with the county government so that they can now also come up with rehabilitation facilities. Because the existing ones, most of them are privately owned and they are very expensive. And once again, I commend Kwale County for operationalization of the Kombani Rehabilitation Center. So those are the challenges, Your Excellency, as far as dealing with alcohol and drug abuse in this region. And I also take this opportunity also to just highlight some of the recommendations that we have come up with. And one of the recommendations is a strengthening of the multi-agency by deploying other agency officers to the counties and sustaining multi-agency raids on illicit dens. Specifically, we are recommending the deployment of more of KEBS, KRA, anti-counterfeit agency staff, Farmers and Sponsors Board, public health, and the government chemist officers to the region. We recommend that more of these officers are deployed for us to be successful in our campaign. We are also recommending enhanced spot checks in the roadblocks. We also recommend continued sensitization campaigns on negative impact of alcohol and other drugs to the community. We also recommending strengthening of the judicial and prosecution processes, and also the other problem which we have highlighted, the problem of corruption. So we are recommending that we address integrity among the law enforcement officers. County government also should, the county government liquor boards should involve all stakeholders in vetting before issuance of liquor licensing. This is something which it's a problem which we have been facing. So we are recommending that before these outlets are issued with the liquor licenses, during the vetting process, we are recommending that all stakeholders, specifically the national government officers, be involved in the vetting. We are recommending to amend the county-specific laws to align to the Alcohol Drinks Control Act of 2010, and to ensure all counties have they operationalize their alcoholic drinks control fund, where liquor licensing fees should be deposited for use in alcohol and drug control programs. The issue of amending county-specific laws is important because in some areas we find that the county alcoholic drinks control law is contrary to what the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act, the Mutudo law, talks about. For instance, in Taita Taveta County, the alcoholic drinks control law talks of bars to operate between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m., while the county alcoholic drinks control law talks about starting operating from 4 p.m. to midnight. So there's a difference of 1 hour. So that contradiction of the county and the national act is really giving us a problem when it comes to enforcement. So we are recommending that they need to harmonize all these county alcohol use control acts so that they're in line with the national acts. We are also recommending to embrace the Nyumba Kumi households policing units to enhance vigilance, and also we are recommending provision of additional resources like more police vehicles to cater for ease movements in apprehending drug peddlers. So, Your Excellency, those are the recommendations. And as I had mentioned earlier, is that in this campaign, we have been working very closely with the key government agencies, including the National Government Administration Offices, KRA, KEBS, the National Police Service, the county governments, other state departments, like the Youth Enterprise Fund, the State Department of Youth Affairs, and religious, civil society organization, and religious organization. So basically, that is the situation of alcohol and drug abuse in this region. But basically, the situation is not good, because when you look at the national prevalence rate, the region prevalence rate is higher than what we have at the national level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nakada. Your Excellency will continue hearing from law enforcement and regulatory authorities, the national regulatory and law enforcement authorities. And this is now a chance we give to the Inspector General of Police to give us his side of the story. As he comes, the other agencies get ready. As you can see where you come in. In fact, the next agency, you can come closer to the front. We'll give the IG just 5 minutes. Other agencies, 3 minutes. I deliberately allowed Nakada to take the time they needed because they were stating the facts and the background under which we'll all be speaking to. IG, karibu.
Asante Ann. Your Excellency, nitachukua chini ya dakika 5. Your Excellency, la kwanza ni kukushukuru kuitisha hiki kikao. Asante. Kuna shida. Asubuhi tu ndio tulikuwa tunajadiliana kama labda ili tungeliita janga la nchi, almost getting to becoming a disaster. That is true, Your Excellency. And I will not stand here as the Inspector General of the National Police Service wa nchi yetu nzuri sana to be on the defensive. And Your Excellency, as I stated earlier, let this not be a finger-pointing session. There is a problem. And the truth is, we are all culpable. I'm not competent to say His Excellency is culpable. But the rest of us, kusema ukweli, we are culpable. Hata wazazi, let us, all of us, own this problem. Jana tu, mumeona kijana wa miaka 28 ameua watu 4 Kisumu. Alianza na mke wake akamkata, akaenda kwa mtoto wake wa miaka 6 akaua, akaenda kwa mjomba wake miaka 60 akaua, akaenda kwa mke wa mjomba wake 58 years. Watu 4. Kule kwangu kwa village yangu Meru, another young man killed the other day the grandmother and the mother. You all remember this incident of Kiambu. A young man killed a number of people kwa boma yao. It is a serious problem. And because of the stigma attached to this problem, many of us are not willing to talk about it. Just the other day, a couple get to my office all the way to Nairobi. A old couple. Familia ambayo imebarikiwa iko na mali, walikuja mpaka kule Nairobi kuja kuniona. Wakaniambia, IG, tumekataa kuzungumza na Regional Police Commander. Tumekataa kuzungumza na County Police Commander. Wakaja mpaka kwangu. Wananieleza kijana wetu alikuja kwa boma akiwa armed, akanajizi mke wangu ambaye ni mama yake. Amevuta hiyo kitu, ametoka ameambia baba, sitaki kuwa note hapa. Lakini families are crying. That is the truth. It is painful. Your Excellency, from where I sit, enough is enough. We cannot go beyond where we have reached. We are going to lose our generation. We are getting to a point where we are not careful, then in the near future, as I said elsewhere, tutakuwa na deputy president ambaye ni mlevi, anakula hizi vitu. Tutakuwa na AG kwa ofisi ambaye ni mlevi, ajiwezi. Tutakuwa na speaker ambaye ni mlevi, magavana ambao ajiwezi. Jameni. We must save the society. We have a beautiful country, and all of us have a responsibility. Where I come from the National Police Service, maofisa wenzangu wako hapa na ni wengi. We must change. We have no option. Na Kanda amejaribu kuwatetea akisema terrain ni mbaya. Terrain mbaya wapi? Atuwezi fanya kazi kwa sababu terrain mbaya. Your Excellency, tumeleta hapa a new regional police commander, and I've signed he has signed a performance contract with me. He has no option. He has come from Northeastern. I don't think the terrain here ni kama ya kule Northeastern. He was able to manage issues ya Al-Shabaab. Tumekubaliana sisi yako anaitwa Seda. Tuko na sisi yo pale Samatara. For a long time, he has not arrested any drug baron. He has not arrested. I'll be here on duty for about 4 days. We must get a baron within those 4 days. Samatara, we have no option. We have no option. Your Excellency, Keti, nikiongea na ananiambia anapigiwa simu. Sasa mimi namuuliza, mimi hakuna siku tangu niingie kwa ofisi, hakuna siku waziri wangu profesa, hakuna siku deputy president, hakuna siku president amenipigia simu kuniambia usishike huyu, aachilia huyu. Sasa nani anakupigia simu? What you are saying, those drug barons ni kushikwa na kutupwa nyuma ya Land Cruiser, not Subaru anymore. Na Your Excellency imefika pahali, sijui hizi face mask tumeruhusu mabusu akienda kotini, anaweka face mask, anaweka goggles kubwa, anaweka kofia hata ujui sura, mpaka tufikirie. Hizo face mask si tuwaone wakienda kotini. At least hiyo punishment kidogo kuonekana na kila mtu. Sasa naona Your Excellency wengine wamenyamaza, sijui kama wanataka tuendane na face mask, tuendane na hizi kofia, but lazima tu wapate aibu. So Your Excellency, we must change the way we have been doing things. We must be ruthless if we want to save the society. Kwa sababu our vijana, and you have heard the age group, 35 and below, they don't care. They don't care. I remember I was telling Professor Kendeki the other day, my village, kwa sababu wameisha na pombe. Hii pombe hii kidogo ameenda chini. Sasa nauliza mkijana, jameni, ini yako unaharibu ini. Anaambia ejiwe kana ini yangu, mimi ini yangu ikae kando, pombe ipite. You know, that is the ignorance. Ati hii nikae kando, kwa hii inafanya nini kwa barabara ya pombe? We can't continue this way. Therefore, Your Excellency, the commitment from the National Police Service, and we started with the Kirinyaga. Deputy President amesema si mwoga, mimi sitishwi, mimi si mwanasiasa, sifahamu siasa, na hata kule kwetu hata Meru sitaki kwenda kwa siasa, nimepatiwa kazi nifanye. Sina uoga. Maofisa wenzangu, you must make a decision. Either you want to serve our country, ukikubali hizo simu napigiwa, na utatuambia unapigiwa simu na nani. Tumeanza na kule Kirinyaga, Your Excellency, wale maofisa waliuza exhibit, wote walienda kotini. Na walienda kotini wakiwa raia. Sijui kule tena waruhusiwa kuvaa face mask, na hizo mbugogos, wangeenda kila Mkenya aone ndio hawa maofisa wala wanatuzia hiyo exhibit. So we have decided to lead by example with myself and by the service commanders. Your Excellency, the other thing we have resolved, which has been lacking, is synergy. The entities involved in this matter, we have not been working together. I'm now talking more to the chairman Nakanda. He has become my personal friend. The CEO Nakanda amekuwa rafiki wangu. ODPP tunasungumuza. Judiciary from tomorrow. Your Excellency, I'm not going to back to Nairobi as I mentioned. I'll be in Nairobi on Friday. We are sitting here as the National Council on Administration of Justice, chaired by the Chief Justice. ODPP will be there. The Attorney General will be there. We want to discuss what are the challenges. How can we deal with this? And the Professor I know will be there. How can we deal with this matter differently? Because as I've said, Your Excellency, it is not business as usual. All of us must come out to fight it. Your Excellency, let's not excuses mambo ya magari hayako ya kutosha, hatuna vifaa ya kutosha, those excuses tuweke kando. Because as a National Police Service, as you procure those better equipment for us, let us not give excuses. Wenzangu, let us not give excuses. Because we have said, as National Police Service, our strategy is quality, not quantity. When better remain with few police officers who are ready to work. Officer moja akipita kule Old Town, si mwoga, anashika vijana wote, anashika barons wote. So I know the government is doing something in terms of getting us better equipment. You have promised better salaries. You have promised to look at the welfare of the officers. But as we wait for all that, let us not be complacent officers wenzangu. Na ni wengi hapa omejaa police uniform na uniform ya ngao. Machifu, usiseme una askari. OCS yako pale. OCPP yako pale. But Your Excellency, ile shida iko kila, na tuseme ukweli maofisa wenzangu, kila mtu amechunga area yake. Unapata OCS anasema mimi nakula hapa, hapa ni kwangu. Ngao chief usije, dio usije. What you've said at the quarter level, we are working as a team under the leadership of Waziri, Professor. We work as a team. I cannot see why a DO, na OCS, OCPD, na DCC can't work together. So either you choose to work together, or the two of you, na niko tayari, najua waziri atakubali mkae hapo. Na tuko nafasi ya kutosha pale headquarter kwangu, nitakupatia ka ofisi hapo, tukae na wewe. Tupatie wengine command responsibility. I'm not intimidating any officer, but that is the truth. Many want this uniform, to put on this uniform. We are discharging a noble duty being in police uniform. But it will not be them us na tumia uniform kujitajirisha. It will not be allowed. Your Excellency, as I go to sit, tafadhali, magavana wako hapa watanichukia, lakini unajua kuwa IG wa nchi hii is not a populist contest. I don't need to be popular. Hii mambo ya magovernors license mambo ya hii pombe, this is a security matter. Watu wetu wanakufa, lakini gavana akiwa pale kusema ukweli, yeye anaangalia kura, anaangalia votes, anaangalia revenue, so the security aspect inasaulika. Your Excellency, ninge requests labda sheria ibadilishwe. Hii mambo ya licensing ya these outlets za pombe irudi vile ilikuwa zamani. Mangavana, ni ukweli hii tumefanya ni siasa, butuachie, otherwise we shall listen a lot more, talk less, but act. And from today, wenzangu, let your presence be felt. From today, let me start getting returns every morning on how many barons have been arrested, whoever it is, whatever status of the society. Ni kurushwa kwa land cruiser nyuma, hayo mengine utaongea baadaye. Asante sana.
Thank you, IG, especially for addressing the synergy. The synergy, field administration, security committees. We've been there. We've actually had this challenge before, and we managed it through synergy. Ingawa sikumsikia IG akitaja RC, umetaja nakada na wale wengine, but it's very, very important. My colleagues from the Kenya Police and the other agencies working with the RC. Simesikia IG. Hajawapa amri, lakini I know he meant to tell you to work with your chair at every level. He mentioned chiefs. It's very, very important that you work together from today. And the confession that kila mtu anachunga tafu yake. Kula. That is also the end. It has reached the end today. Cabs move closer. Yeah, Cabs is here. KCA, get ready to take 2 minutes, please, Cabs.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. All protocols observed. I am Dr. Geoffrey Muriera, representing Managing Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards. And I want to speak about the 5 aspects briefly that can enhance the synergy that I've seen here. The first thing is about the standards. In Kenya, we have 25 standards covering various brews, but they are not well applied. So if all the agencies represented here understands those standards, I am sure we will not have substandard and toxic products in the market. Point number 2 is about product certification. In this region, there is one area that we can look at because we have standards for the local brews. We can certify those local brews because we have standards for Changa, we have standards for Mnazi, and then we have in those hotspots areas where they can be produced, and this ethanol can also be used for industry, not for human consumption. It can be used for industry, not for human consumption. It can be controlled, and then we can avoid abuse. The other thing that I want to talk about is market surveillance. I want to agree that we need to have more officers that are involved in market surveillance and intensify these activities, the interagency activities. The other thing is that in our regional office, we have testing laboratory with capacity. So any product that is seized can be taken to our labs to be tested, and this can support the multi-agency activities. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself. I said I'm Dr. Geoffrey Moriera. I work as Director Quality Assurance and Inspection at Kenya Bureau of Standards, and I'm representing the Managing Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Followed KCA. KCA is also being, he's representing the CEO, Mr. John Akoten. Please come and take your 2 minutes.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocols observed. Good morning. I'm John Akoten, Director for Research Awareness and Quality Assurance at the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. I'm here standing in for the CEO, Dr. Robbie Mbugua, who was not able to join us this morning. Now, as ACA, we are part and parcel of the multi-agency team that was started some time back in 2018, where ACA spearheaded the formation of a multi-agency framework under Gazette Notice number 7250 of 2018. In this particular framework, the enforcement wing was being spearheaded from the Office of the President, while the public awareness was being spearheaded from the State Department of Industry. Now, as ACA, we've been able to work under the multi-agency framework where we seized around 20 million Kenya shillings worth of illicit brews just last year. And last month, out of that, a quarter of that volume actually came from here in Mombasa. And last month, we were able to seize illicit brews worth 1.2 million Kenya shillings here in Mombasa. And this one has risen to 115 cases, where some of those cases we've been able to resolve them through what's called the ADR process, where the culprits have been fined and their goods were destroyed. Some of the cases are also through the various processes in the court, and hopefully we'll be able to send some of them or even fine them through the court process. Now, we do have some challenges. We have one regional office here in Mombasa that is in charge of all the counties here in the coast, and that also gives us a challenge because the number of officers there are very few, and therefore sending them, all of them actually to the sub-county level becomes a challenge. And then of course, together with that is the issues of limited resources that also affected also our operations. Now, the other challenge that Nakada did mention is also the issue of porous borders. We have porous borders along this region, and therefore that becomes really also a conduit through which illicit brews can actually enter into the country. If you look at also the other borders, for example, Kenya and Uganda, that's also one of the challenges at the borders of Busia and Malaba. You go down south between Kenya and Tanzania is also a problem. And I think within the framework of multi-agency, we'll be able now to counter that. Now, the other challenge, of course, is also the issues of technology, where technology has also aided also the proliferation of illicit brews, especially when we're talking about from the point of view of counterfeiting. Then we have a few recommendations. One of the recommendations is to enhance joint awareness as well as advocacy, because when we educate the public on the dangers of illicit brews, then they are most likely to change their behavior as well as also their mindset, and therefore move away from these illicit brews. The other recommendation that we want to make is to enhance interagency collaborations on enforcement. So all of us as state agencies, then we need really to work together to ensure that we're able to continue seizing and arresting people so that we send this message home. Issues of Issues of regional collaboration is also very important. I did mention that some of these illicit brews come into the country through the border points, and therefore there is a need for us really to collaborate with our neighboring countries like Uganda and even Tanzania. As ACA, we've been able to do that. For example, with Tanzania, we have the Fair Competition Commission. We've been able to work with them and also share intelligence. Issues of technology is also very, very critical, that we need then to harness technology so that it can help us also to fight illicit brews. And finally, Your Excellency, is the issue of strengthening our legislative framework, especially on anti-illicit brews, so that we strengthen those weak areas so that we make our laws punitive enough to deal with issues of illicit brews. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, ACA. We'll hear from KRA, followed by KVB, that is a veterinary board. And it's very interesting that today we want to hear about something from veterinary, because we've even ventured into that in the name of intoxication, followed by Coast Guard, Pharmacy and Poison Board. Those agencies, please come closer, and in that order.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Ministers and PSAs and all leaders here, all protocols observed. My name is Dr. Lilian Nyawanda, Commissioner Customs and Border Control, representing the Commissioner General who's away on official duty out of the country. So for KRA, I'll be very brief. I'll give 3 strategies. I'll not talk about the problems because we all have problems, and I believe we've been guided to come up with solutions. So Your Excellency, the short-term measure for us, and that's what we've been doing, is working in collaboration with multi-agency teams in terms of enforcement across our borders, all our borders countrywide, and we've been intercepting and seizing goods and working and tackling smuggling. It's not an easy task, but we've been working with all agencies, and we'll continue doing that to ensure that we protect our borders and safeguard our country's interest, as we also impose punitive measures in terms of fines and penalties for the smugglers. One of the challenges there has been working at cross purpose as interagency team, multi-agency teams, but we will work together as one government to ensure that we stop and deter the smuggling across all our borders. The medium-term measure that we are looking at, Your Excellency, is we've already engaged our partner states, Uganda and Tanzania specifically, because the excise regime is different across the 3 countries. So our rates for excise, especially ethanol, which is the raw input for the excisable products, is very high compared to our partner states. Tanzania has no excise on ethanol. Uganda has about 50% of what we charge. So what we have done is we've already done a proposal. We have a task force. We've done a proposal. We submitted it to the EAC Secretariat, and it's in the process. So we hope within this year, at some point, maybe by June, it will be presented to the Council of Ministers for consideration. That is harmonization of domestic excise rates. And finally, Your Excellency, the 3rd strategy, which is long-term, is in terms of technology, because this, again, is capital intensive. So what we are doing is we're working on getting more scanners through a PPP arrangement being led by the Ministry of Interior, and I can see PS Omolo here, who's been leading us on that. So that is for scanners. We're also looking at getting drones to be able to penetrate the areas where our staff are not able to because of the nature of activities and the risk element. So for that, we're working with Ministry of Interior again, being helped by the KDF. The CDF has been helping us on that so that we're able to get the right specs, right drones to be able to work on that. So Your Excellency, basically that's it. We intend to also have a centralized command center where once we have the drones and we have more scanners, then we'll have a monitoring unit to enhance whatever we already have. For me, just to assure us that from a KRA perspective, we are result-oriented, so we are going to focus to ensure, we roll up our sleeves to ensure that we continue doing what we do best and work together with the multi-agency team. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari. Veterinary Board, please. As you come, Coast Guard, you can come closer.
of the fact that veterinary drugs are now being abused. The drug that is being used to mix with heroin that makes people zombies is actually a prescription-only medicine. So as a veterinary board, we work together with the Veterinary Medicines Directorate that is in charge of the distribution, the manufacture, and licensing of veterinary medicines and their use in this country. So we are going to be tightening the strings so that this drug is only sold to registered veterinarians. It is unfortunate that it was released by a registered veterinarian who we are going to deal with and remind them that that drug can only be handled by veterinarians. So we are cognizant of what is happening and we commit ourselves to decentralize our offices so that we can be able to do more enforcement, surveillance, and so that there is compliance to the use of these veterinary medicines. Thank you. My name is Dr. Meritriza Agutu. The drug is xylazine. Of course, we don't want to tell so many because they are aware and then they go looking for it. Sorry.
His Excellency the President, His Excellency Deputy President, all protocols observed. My name is Nancy Nyagodie, a lieutenant from Kenya Coast Guard, on behalf of DG Kenya Coast Guard, Mr. Bruno Siocho. Okay, Coast Guard come into action. It was enacted by the Act of Parliament in the year 2018, and we are in the front line of fighting on illicit blues and drugs. And so KCGS on the issue of drugs is one of the mandates of KCGS, and we are working loud the clock to ensure that no drugs are trafficked in our maritime domain. KCGS, we are ready to support other agencies in the fight against illicit blues, especially along the shores of the ocean and the riverbanks. The challenge we have is the porosity of the ocean and the capacity of KCGS to discharge the mandate well. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocols observed. I am Dr. Fred Sioi. I'm the CEO of Pharmacy and Poisons Board. I feel greatly honored to be here for this meeting. And I want to say that I think speaking last is always hard because what I wanted to say has mostly been said by others. But let me echo what my colleagues have said, that as a state agents, we are committed to fighting this menace. Our mandate is usually to regulate the profession of pharmacy, and two, to regulate the trade in drugs. And we look at three things: the quality, safety, and efficacy. So we mostly don't talk about what goes out of the supply chain. But remember, drugs can also be misused. Some are using Piriton, they say, akitaka kwenda kulala, anataka Piriton. But that's not what it's meant for. We have had challenges, and I think the best is to educate people on the benefits and the disadvantages of or abuse of those medicines. As an agency, we are committed to, we have a president, a deputy president. We have challenges, as which the others have said, but we are very committed with the help of our minister and our peers to make sure we discharge our mandate. And I think today I'm more encouraged because the regional commissioners and the provincial administration is here. Some of the challenges we get is because there's no cooperation right from the level of the village. You can imagine if we had Manyumba Kumi giving us information and then the chiefs acting on those premises that we think are illegal. We had a case in Nyandarua, I think the RC those days mapped all the legal and illegal chemists in Nyandarua County. And it became easy for us to target. But he also went ahead, if it had no license, he did not wait, he closed them. And we had a lot of sanity in Nyandarua. So I'm pleading to all governors, regional commissioners present, that please, let's work together. We give you whoever is licensed. Those who are not licensed, let them not say they know who and who. Just close them if they don't have a license. You don't need further reference. With those few remarks, I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we continue in the same spirit that was set by His Excellency the Deputy President. We are meeting on a very, very sad we are discussing very, very sad state of affairs in this region. So colleagues, especially colleagues in the fields, we are going to be very hard on you because we know that you have the capacity to address this menace once and for all. Those are my parting shots as I now welcome my boss, the Principal Secretary, Internal Security, the National Administration, Dr. Raymond Omolo.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, first let me convey my apologies for coming into your meeting late when you're seated. I got stuck in Nairobi. Now, I want to ride on the protocol that has already been established so that we save on time. And the session that is currently going on, we had agreed or had allocated it to 1.5 hours. And already we are past the 1 hour mark, meaning we have barely half an hour to finish the session so that then we can make justice for why we are here. Now, I have a few speakers whom I will invite before I hand over the program to my CS, the Honorable Professor Kindiki, who then will speak, and then subsequent to that, we will have the open plenary session. So allow me to invite the office of the DPP, and we try and be on point. And I think the truth, looking at the various sessions we've had across the country, we are pretty much clear on what the major issues are. And what I believe we all want to hear is how do we progress this conversation for the benefit of Kenyans who are most affected. Karibu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocol observed. I'm Victor Mule, Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and I represent the Director of Public Prosecutions. And to start off, the Office of the DPP, throughout the country, all officers are committed to support all initiatives by the national government to eradicate the menace of drugs and alcohol abuse and other substances. And just to prove and demonstrate this, Your Excellency, we had a meeting in Nairobi on Thursday, And on Friday, we had another meeting as a follow-up of that meeting with all the heads of the Office of the DPP in the 47 counties. And we stressed three things. And the first one was, if an offense has been committed, it is an offense. The quantity will not matter. A charge should ensue. Prosecution should ensue. So, IG, you urged us. You also talked about the nature of communication. You said an officer was replied badly. We addressed that on Friday as a follow-up of the Thursday meeting. The second thing, Your Excellency, and this gathering which we agreed was on ancillary orders. Your Excellency, ancillary orders, in addition to prosecution, an application can be made for auxiliary orders, and we stressed an auxiliary order for destruction of the substance. And because you require this substance as an exhibit during the trial, we stressed that our prosecutors use officers from the National Police Service. They are called scenes of crime. Let them take photographs, let them weigh, even in the presence of the suspect, and let them be destroyed. This will take care of loss or even theft or even change of the quantity or even change of the chemical compound of the substance, because they change, some of them change with time. So we stressed auxiliary orders. The other auxiliary order we stressed was confiscation of the vessel or the motor vehicle or the instrument used to transport or ferry. Confiscate. This will be discourage the drug barons or the dealers from engaging in future. We also talked about confiscation of where it is stored. Imagine somebody's house being confiscated to the state. And the law allows all this. We are not talking of something which is not in the law. It is in the law is there, confiscate. And that we will discourage, will be a demotivating factor. And the third thing we talked about was cooperation, participation in COCs. We are going to participate fully, raise these issues of drug and substance abuse in court users committees, and we shall participate fully for purposes of synergy. So in short, the ODPP is going to play its role in its objective of prosecution as a deterrence. So we urge cooperation from our investigating agencies. Sometimes we appreciate, and we talked about it during the meeting, we appreciate you might not have something like the government report, chemist report, because like those who were arrested yesterday, you cannot have the report today. So we said, just come with the exhibit memo form to demonstrate that you have taken a step. And here in Mombasa, Your Excellency, we have been told it takes only 4 days. So if there is an exhibit memo form to prove that the exhibit has been taken to the government chemist, within 4 days, if the court requires the report, it will be ready, because we have a government chemist here at the coast. So we also ask for police officers to attend court, testify, swear affidavits for these auxiliary orders we are talking about, because it is important. As a recommendation, we shall be recommending law reform for expert reports to be produced without necessarily calling the expert, because these experts are required in different courts throughout the country. They are not very many, and if we have to insist on them coming to testify in court, it takes time and delays. So, Your Excellency, and this gathering, the Office of the DPP is committed, and we are going to support and all initiatives, and any resolution from this meeting will be passed on to the prosecutors on the ground, and there will be nothing toward the IG, who on Friday I thought was very worried. Thank you very much.
I think those are very good commitments from the ODPP. Now, allow me to invite His Excellency, the Honorable Speaker of the Senate, who is also not just any other ordinary person, but a leader from this region. He has been a governor, and
He's also our wakili, so he'll be able to also speak to us to some of those points that the DPP is talking about.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, allow me also to go by the protocols that have already been established to save on time. Your Excellency, umezungumza na ukasema kwamba hapa lazima tuzungumze ukweli, ukweli mtupu. Na kwa sababu nataka nifuate nyayo zako, pia mimi ngoja nizungumze ukweli na ukweli mtupu kuhusu hili swala. Na kabla sijazungumza, naona walanguzi wachache hapa madawa kulevya. Tafadhali kabla sijakutaja jina, manake nitataja. Una dakika 2, usimame utuache, manake hatuwezi kupanga ukiwa hapa, utatutatiza. Ni wataje? Sitawataja maki mama Aisha anasema tafadhali usiwataje hivi leo. Your Excellency, the solution and the problem facing us is here. Because for us to help our young people save their lives from drug abuse is to make sure that these products are not in the market. As long as these products are in the market, we'll continue losing our population. Now, Your Excellency, as a country, we pride ourselves on having the best intelligence system, one of the best, if not the best. I ask myself some questions sometimes. Why we cannot get to know the source of these drugs? For the young men in Lamu, Kilifi, Kwale, name it, to access these drugs, that means there's a source somewhere. There is a source somewhere that is known by the men and women who are seated here. And I was lost for words, Your Excellency, when the IG confessed here that some of the enforcement officers received calls not to apprehend these culprits. With that, Your Excellency, we are not going to win this war on drugs. Because clearly, the big boys are known, maybe the big girls too. But the reason why they cannot be apprehended is because of those phone calls. And as long as those phone calls will keep coming, our young people are going to die. Whether as leaders we'll scream, whether as leaders we will cry, as long as those phone calls will keep coming, we are going to lose this war. So going forward, Your Excellency, the kind of assurance that you've given and the kind of commitment that you've given to the enforcement officers, because, Your Excellency, there's nothing new that we've been told today. Hii shida tunajua. But the biggest weakness that has been there towards eradicating this menace is at the enforcement level. If you know these drug dealers, how comes they've not been apprehended? Today, if you go to the law courts, you'll see quite a number of young men and women who are being arraigned in court for being in possession of just one roll of bang. While the guy who has kilos, sacks and sacks of marijuana is seated pretty somewhere because he's untouched. we are targeting the wrong category. If we can be able to make sure that these products are no longer in the market, then we'll be saving our young people. And to do so, Your Excellency, we need to go to the source. And with our intelligence system, we know who these drug barons are. As leaders, and I'm speaking on behalf of the leadership of the region, we are behind these efforts, Your Excellency, have no doubt. And I can speak here without any fear or contradiction that none of us were elected pursuant to funds, using funds from drug dealers. None of us benefited or has benefited from that kind of dirty funds. And therefore, on this war, you have partners in the leadership of this region. We are not just speaking because we're in this conference, but we mean it. And whatever recommendations that will be adopted from this particular conference, Your Excellency, have us as your partners in this war. But again, as I end my remarks, haya yote nimezungumza ni 9, 10 na la muhimu. We need those big boys behind bars if you're to make any meaningful progress in this war. How many of our boys in their thousands will be arraigned in court? Wakitolewa, wengine wanaletwa. How many rehabilitation centers will our governors build to, take in the thousands of our young people who are hooked to drugs? But Your Excellency, if we are able to nab the supplier, there'll be no child being arraigned in court because he's been found with a sachet of heroin. And that is where we ought to start. That is where we need to put all our efforts. How I wish the IG disclose this powerful person who can call his office na anatetemeka. Who is this who can call the IG's office? And they're let scot-free. They're out there feeding our young people with all the poison they can feed them on. So again, IG, mkubwa amesema, I know hiyo simu haikutoka kwa Rigiji. That I'm very sure. I know that phone call never came from His Excellency, the President of this country. Who is this? Who can call your office, and because of that call, they cannot be arrested? If you're to win this, we need to have the will and the commitment, more particularly from our enforcement unit. But otherwise, Your Excellency, count the leadership of the region as a partner in this war. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. Now, on behalf of the 6 counties, I would want to call on the Governor for Kwale, then followed by the Governor for Taita Taveta. At least let's also hear what is it that the county governments are doing to help in this fight. Karibu, Governor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocol observed. Pengine mimi sitoenda mbali sana. I want to appreciate this meeting, Your Excellency. Now, on behalf of governors and the people of Kwale, let me speak on behalf of people of Kwale. Your Excellency, pengine ni kutoe wasiwasi. Tumekuwa tupigi makelele, lakini kazi inafanyika Kwale. And that is why we have a rehabilitation center in Kwale. Now, currently in the rehabilitation center, when you wanachukua methadone, we have around 1,000 clients kwa methadone. Na katika rehab, we have inpatient 25 na around 60 ambao ni outpatients. Lakini katika vita dhidi ya mihadarati and drug abuse, nafikiri IG amegusa pale ambapo panafaa patibiwe, ambayo ni enforcement officers. For as much as we have a rehabilitation center, for as much as tutapeana methadone, lakini wakati dawa zinaendeleza kusambazwa na enforcement officers are not taking action, bado tutakuwa tunafanya zero work. So na viongozi, kama viongozi tumechaguliwa, na in fact devolution imekuja ili ilete unafuu kule ground, and my government tumejaribu, tumetengeneza rehabilitation center, na mbali na hiyo wale vijana ambao wamekuwa wakichukua madawa, tumehakikisha zile polytechnics tunaendelea kuzijenga vizuri na kuziweka equipment so that after wakichukua dawa na wanaenda kuwa trained, wanakuwa equipped na skills. Wakipata skills wanapata opportunity ya kufanya makazi. And I want to appreciate Madam Dorcas Gachagua came to my county. Na all these issues ambazo tuko nazo tulizungumza na yeye. Na pia ni washukuru wabunge from my county. Kila mtu amejaribu kwa uwezo wake. Hii holiday karibu kila constituency vijana wamekuwa engaged kupitia zile michezo za mpira na michezo zingine zote. Na vile vile pia ili our youths wasiengage katika masuala ya mihadarati, ni lazima tuhakikishe wako mashule. County government of Kwale imeweka 500 million ya kusomesha mtoto. That is why kila mwanafunzi arudi shule. Lakini sasa hivi mbali na vita za mihadarati, kuna hawa juvenile. Kuna hizi sasa cases ambazo zimetoka Mombasa zimeingia Kwale. Unfortunately, hatujaona cases hizi zikiwa prosecuted. Mbali na kuwa sasa hivi zimekuwa tisho, saizi hata kufanya maharusi in some areas inakuwa problem. So IG, it's not about licensing. Hii kupeana licenses ni kazi ndogo, lakini let's enforcement officers do their work. Where nimejenga rehabilitation center some meters away, wameweka deni hapo ya mangwe. Enforcement officers wako hapo Kombani, but they can't do anything. Kama watawaacha wawe hivyo, wanachukua methadone, wanarudi wanaingia tena kukula bangi. In fact, we lost a client juzi, last week, because anachukua dawa na bado anarudi kwa mihadarati. Lakini enforcement officers wako wapi? So IG, in my county, major problem ni enforcement officers. Wakifanya kazi yao na sisi kama viongozi tufanye kazi yetu, hii kazi itakuwa rahisi sana. And because they know the hotspots, I would think enforcement officers wako katika zile hotspots. And Nakada, for as much as you've mentioned about the hotspots, sidhani kama you've captured the right hotspots. So Nakada pia tusikule tu mshahara na kusema Nakada we are there. Come to the ground. See what is happening on the ground. Si ile tu kuja na kusema sijui Lukore, hata nimemwangalia mheshimiwa Tandaza akawa surprised kwa some of the areas ambazo zimetajwa hapa, they're not the real areas ambazo ziko na issues. So even for Nakada, I want you to calm down. See what is happening, the real issues. Tusiandike kwa karatasi tukazungumza kwa conferences ili hali the major problems are there. So mimi tu mheshimiwa naibu wa rais, nataka nikuhakikishie kama governor wa jimbo la Kwale tuko imara. Tunapigana vita, pengine sisi si watu wa kupiga kelele sana, plus my MPs and all the leaders, but we work very closely kupigana vita na mihadarati. Sijasema police officers hawafanyi kazi yao, lakini wazidishe nguvu zaidi ili tuangamize janga hili. Thank you very much.
Asante sana Governor. Governor Taita Taveta.
Your Excellency, Deputy President of Kenya, I recognize the protocol earlier on recognized. Your Excellency, your candid talk and IG, your candid talk is in the right direction. Right now, our Deputy President, we are doing a lot of work on the same. Though tunafanya ni kwa sababu mengine tunafanya chini chini. But we are doing a lot. As I'm talking right now, in my sub-county hospital vessel, we are trying to do rehabilitation. Despite Taita Taveta County, over 62% of our land has been taken by national park. We are not getting any revenue. And at the same time, we are among the last 6 counties getting the lowest equitable share. And at the same time, Deputy President, Taita Taveta, the injustices done by the previous governments from 1964 to 2013 before devolution, no industry invested in Taita Taveta. We are already negotiating with the different stakeholders so that our youth, because we don't have any industry in Taita Taveta, and we are developing them right now. We are negotiating with different stakeholders like APZ in different, so that we can engage our youth. And we are also trying in all directions to talk to our young men. Also with our security in Taita Taveta. We regularly talk about this issue, about it, because actually drugs and alcohol, especially alcohol, mbangara, is a really menace to Taita Taveta. Our youth are in tatters, they're in bad condition. I wish this talk was done before. IG, what you have said over here, I'm sure it's an eye-opener. But there is always a beginning. Let's work as all stakeholders in this problem. Some of these meetings, you always make them here in Mombasa. You don't make these meetings in Taita. You should send some of these meetings in Taita so that they can spread all over, because I'm sure Mombasa people, they're more here than any other county. We should bring them to Taita so that we can also spread the message properly, because some counties, you know, as if I don't know what happened, we don't see some of you, our Deputy President. In fact, I'm welcoming you to Taita Taveta. I will highly, because the talk you have said over here, for sure, Mheshimiwa Deputy President, umeongea vizuri sana. Na tunaongea sana haya maswala ya pombe, maswala ya drugs, kwa sababu even right now, you go to our nurseries, it's serious. You'll find a school just 3 years back, it used to have about 40 students. Like right now, unakuta wako watoto 2, 3, 4. Even we feel threatened. So, Mheshimiwa Deputy President, tuko na wewe, and we are supporting this, and let's work together. Hata ikiwezekana, county by county, fungueni polisi wote, ama hata ikiwezekana na GSU na wengine wana act county ya Taita leo, na kesho Mombasa, kesho kutwa Kilifi, na ikiwezekana hawa ambao wanapatikana wanakunywa hizo wapigwe viboko hadharani na wapatio kazi ya kufagia, so that kila mtu aone. Otherwise yangu sio mengi. Asante sana kwa huu mkutano, Deputy President.
Thank you, Governor. Watu wachapwe viboko. Now, allow me to invite my Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Professor Kindiki, to take over from there.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and all the other colleagues present, clergy, and all officers of government, I'll say a few things and then allow my colleagues also to weigh in so that we can move towards the plenary where our leaders who have not spoken and the other participants can also give us their input on this very important matter. Your Excellency, the problem of drugs, substance abuse is a national security matter. I do know there are some public health concerns, social concerns, economic concerns on the impacts of this problem to our country. But the entry point for this discussion should be our national security and the survival of the country in the years to come. And therefore, for us in the Interior Ministry, we consider those who are selling drugs, transporting drugs, those who are manufacturing illicit alcohol, as well as public officials who are enabling the purveyors of drugs and illicit alcohol to thrive. We consider the category of everybody that I've mentioned in that chain as enemies of Kenya. We consider them as participants in organized crime, and therefore we have placed them on the same category where we have placed terrorists, extremists, and bandits. There is no difference. What terrorists are doing to our country, the harm that other organized criminals are doing to our country, including bandits, is the same harm that those who are manufacturing, transporting, selling, distributing, and encouraging drugs and alcohol are doing to our country. What are we doing? First, we'll go hard on them. Even as we wait for the other for the sustainability of this war, the same way we've gone hard on terrorism and on violent extremism. Very hard. I see no reason, even as we look at our legislation, why we should not borrow the current legislation on the fight against terror to fight drugs and the organized crime that is around drugs. I see no reason whatsoever. Your Excellency, the Director of Public Prosecutions did highlight here things which are already in our law, which we should be implementing. And again, I see no reason why we are not implementing. The destruction of drugs before they can be interfered with or reused, as has been the case in Kirinyaga recently, I see no reason why anything that is a motor vehicle which has been used to transport drugs should not be forfeited. I see no reason why a building which has been used to store narcotics and illicit alcohol should not be confiscated, forfeited to the state. Therefore, asset recovery, forfeiture, and harsh punishments, even if it includes enhancing the already existing law, will go a long way in the hard solutions to this problem. Excellency, we have a law enforcement problem in the country, and let us face it, now that we have said today is the day of speaking the truth. Excellency, we have officers from various agencies who are dealing with law enforcement, who are doing a commendable job across the country. I've been able to visit many parts of Kenya. I can attest to you without fear of contradiction. We have police officers, we have Ngao officers, we have all manner of officers, including public prosecutors, who are doing a great job for this country, and they need to be applauded. But we also have a group of officers, Your Excellency, and public officials who have decided to benefit from the death of the nation. And therefore, they are presiding over a systematic and gradual death of this and current generation. And these are police officers, for example, Ngao officers, public prosecution officials who are taking bribes from drug barons and those who are transporting drugs so that the law doesn't catch up with them. So we have a problem. And this is the solution. The solution is that for us in national security, we cannot afford a day extra in talking about what we need to do when we know what we need to do. For example, there are all these tensions between agencies and the two levels of government, including national government and county governments. We have no quarrel with the departmental jurisdictions of agencies or even the functional mandates of county governments vis-a-vis national government. But we want to remind the country that national security is not a devolved function. And therefore, anything that threatens national security, we will go out of our way to prevent further harm, and we will not wait for the discussions around whether this falls under this level of government or this other level of government. I was in Kirinyaga, Your Excellency, a day before you went there for the mass burial of 17 Kenyans who died from one village because poison was sold to them. And this poison had actually been, it was an exhibit which was supposed to be used in court. Police officers in the local police station sold that exhibit to the person who used that exhibit to kill 17 people. I want to thank the Inspector General of Police and the service commanders because every time the government has requested the National Police Service to make decisions on rowdy and patriotic and criminal officers. The Inspector General of Police and the service commanders have cooperated fully, and they have not come back to us flagging the independence that institutions like flagging around when they want to undermine the national interest. I'm grateful, IG Comey, because those officers who sold those exhibits were sacked on the same day, and they were charged with murder. They're in court. They are going to face the crime, or they are going to face charges of the offense of murder. And you see that example of 17 people from one village lying in caskets on the same day. What is the difference between that and what terrorists do? In some parts of our country, it's the same thing, isn't it? And therefore, for us, this discussion is not even about departmental and agency tough wars. It is beyond county and national government discussions around mandates. And so we will not wait to ask who has licensed what. Once we discover certain outlets, buildings, facilities are threatening the survival of the nation, we shut them up, we shut them down. We will be able to discuss these other things about licensing later on. Because we cannot allow a murderer to continue murdering Kenyans because they are licensed by whatever agency or whatever level of government. We are going to change the country's transfer policy. Any official in the law enforcement and public service space who, through action or inaction, contributes to the death of Kenyans, through negligence, they allow dangerous criminals, organized criminals, including drug barons, to have their way to access the public. That officer will not be transferred, as you've said, Your Excellency, elsewhere, because every inch of our territory requires efficient services and the protection of its national security organs. So you mess up in your area of jurisdiction, we will see what to do with you. And I like what the Inspector General of Police said. You know, we are a country with so many procedures about very many things. How to sack somebody, how to do what to somebody. And there are officers who are misusing some of these procedures. And some agencies of government, including courts, are even supporting. We had a case in Naivasha where somebody who had committed a serious dereliction of duty successfully resisted a transfer using a court order. So what we are going to do, we will take action on day one. Immediately we discover that what you are doing or what you are about to do is a threat to national security. We will remove you from service through whatever methods. We will remove you from office, and then you can take us to court later, and we are willing to do court and other things and deal with court orders once the country is safe. And I know the officers here looking at me and saying, we have seen very many ministers, we have seen very many administrations. That's how they talk. We are the ones who know this space. I want to assure you, brothers and sisters who are listening to me, and you are working under the Ministry of Interior within our national security formations. It may take us a little while to catch up with you. But when, because it is when, not if, we catch up with you, you'll be a living example of what dangerous criminals should be treated in a democratic and modern country. Why are we saying this? If you're a police commander, you take a bribe from someone who is transporting illegal ethanol or methanol or some other drug that is being used to mix with the heroin and make these hard drugs even more dangerous. If you are a police commander or you are a criminal investigations officer in the county, in the region, and this happens under your watch, or you receive money to look the other way, why should we keep you in that role even for an hour? And I want to assure you, in the name of God and in the name of the Constitution of our country, we will get hold of you, we will neutralize those efforts before you destroy the country. We will sack you, let me put it that way. We will sack you by whatever method possible. And we don't fear court, we don't fear you, I don't know, using which other route. We will not even return you to service. Because a threat to national security is a threat to the nation. So, you may have heard this before, but you didn't hear it from me before. Your Excellency, the soft remedies are important as the hard remedies, because as we suppress the supply, we must also suppress the demand. We totally support rehabilitation programs. You've heard already we have a rehabilitation center here in Miritini. We've put in money, even in this financial year, to expand that rehabilitation center. Our target, in partnership with other partners, including county governments, is that every county in the Republic of Kenya should have a publicly funded rehabilitation center. Because the private rehabilitation centers are very costly and many of our people cannot afford. We'll also be very hard with the victims of this crime. I'm afraid sometimes we are very sympathetic to victims of crime. But on this one, just like other sophisticated international crime and organized crimes, we'll also be very harsh with the victims of crime, because we cannot have you, we cannot look kindly as you waste yourself and as you destroy yourself. Your Excellency, I agree county governments should use the fees that they collect from licensing alcoholic outlets to mitigate against addiction and to rehabilitate and reintegrate those that are affected. There is no reason collecting that kind of money, that kind of revenue, and using it to build roads. It doesn't work very well, because you're trying to sanitize that revenue which you get from the control of trade in alcoholic substances. Please, let's use it for rehabilitation and reintegration. And therefore, going forward, between the National Police Service and the Director of Public Prosecutions, we must find ways of enforcing the ancillary orders of destruction of drugs and substances, forfeiture of vehicles, and the confiscation of and forfeiture of buildings where drugs and illicit alcohol is stored. And so, Your Excellency, I don't want to belabor so much. This is a national crisis. Just like terrorism and other serious crimes, we must act and act fast. We will not wait for the law to be amended. We'll apply what is there now. And all the other discussions about legality, legitimacy, we can have them when we have saved the nation. I now want to end there and request my colleagues to weigh in a sentence or two on the aspects that touch on their mandates. And then we can go to the last part, which is the plenary, and we close this meeting in good time. In no particular order, I want to ask my sister, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, to make a few remarks. And so that I don't come back here, she'll be followed by the Cabinet Secretary for Education, 2 minutes, the Cabinet Secretary for Gender and Affirmative Action, 2 minutes, the Cabinet Secretary for Mining and the Blue Economy, 2 minutes, and after that, PS, you will organize the plenary. Thank you very much, and God bless our country.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, my colleague, Cabinet Secretaries present, Excellency Governors present, Principal Secretaries, elected leaders, and all government officials present, good afternoon. Your Excellency, I'm happy that we have taken this approach in addressing this problem. My ministry is the one that bears the brunt of the issues that we are discussing here, Your Excellency. Some of us may look at it narrowly, just as a drug and an alcohol abuse problem affecting an individual. Yet this is a problem for the community, Your Excellency. If you look at the incidences that we have, Your Excellency, around teenage pregnancy, they are caused by people who most likely engage in drug and alcohol abuse. Your Excellency, if you look around issues to do with sexual and gender-based violence, most likely they will be caused by somebody or someone who is engaging in drug and alcohol abuse. And worst of it all, Your Excellency, if you look at the issues around HIV/AIDS, the spread of HIV/AIDS, once individuals are in drug and alcohol abuse, they drop their guns on protection. And that is how we end up with the spread of HIV/AIDS amongst our population. Your Excellency, last year, as a ministry, we spent a whole 75 billion shillings on management of HIV. Your Excellency, 75 billion shillings, if we did not have HIV in this country, that can build for me over 1,200 health centers at a rate of 70 million per health center, Your Excellency. Those 1,200, if we spread them across the counties, it means that each county will at least get 22 health centers to take care of the health needs of our citizens, Your Excellency. So this issue is bigger than just that individual who is taking alcohol or abusing drugs. By the way, Your Excellency, we rank number 11 in the world on HIV/AIDS. So anytime we go to global meetings to discuss HIV and AIDS, I discuss with my face looking downwards because we rank very highly. So we must do something about alcohol and drug abuse. As a ministry, do we have a solution? Yes, we have some solution. One, Your Excellency, we have to support our regulatory institution, starting with Pharmacy and Poisons Board. That the law enforcement officers that we have must work closely with Pharmacy and Poisons Board that once they close a facility, it remains closed without being reopened by anyone. If that support is there, I'm sure we'll play a big role. Your Excellency, we have a second solution, and is in the new community health promoters that we commissioned. 107,000 the whole country, Your Excellency. There is no village that does not have a community health promoter. These people, we have given them smartphones, Your Excellency. One, we want them to use those smartphones to also identify these people within the community who are using alcohol and drug abuse, so that then our solutions can be targeted to specific numbers. But also is to ask our Ngao officers, please work with the community health promoters to see how we go into the community and assist our people. Your Excellency, another solution, in 2010, the government took a decision to look for drug barons. And that time, Your Excellency, as a result, there was a shortage of heroin in this country. As a result, we had many people with withdrawal symptoms. So we got partners who then assisted us to put in place medically assisted therapy centers, one that Governor Chani was talking about. So we have those centers across the country, and we are able to expand so that once the officers do their job and we have people then who get withdrawal symptoms, we can be able to take care of them. And the last and the best solution, Your Excellency, is in the new laws that we have enacted, that it is providing a benefit package. And this benefit package includes mental illness, that is as a result of alcohol and drug abuse. It also includes rehabilitation, Your Excellency. So, as you had said, asking the governors to put up rehabilitation centers, they need to do so, because now we have a cover to take care of those. And just for an example, last year, we did pay out 230 million to the existing rehabilitation centers for the job that they did. So as a ministry, we are the ones who suffer from this problem, so we are here to be part of the solution. And lastly, Your Excellency, I think it's for all of us. We begin by ourselves. We cannot afford to be bystanders and observe and talk about what needs to be done. So whatever needs to be done by each one of us, let us take action. I thank you, Your Excellency.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, my colleagues, the Cabinet Secretaries, Your Excellency, the Governors, and all of us, watu wa Bwana mjambo. Your Excellency, in education, one, we thank you for providing this opportunity in order for us to look at the root causes, the extent, the impact, and more importantly, to look at sustainable solutions. In education, Your Excellency, when we look at the source of these great menace in our schools, we identify the nearest bars, which these days you find so many near our schools, the kiosks around, the shops, and also we have traffickers who are also sometimes students and even people working within the school community, that is the school workers. Again, Your Excellency, when you look at the effect, the impact in our schools is so dire, so serious, because one, attendance and retention in our schools and even performance is affected by this. And indeed, in cost here, I can be able to give an example of the sub-count of Ganse. Last year on, the year 2023, we had school unrest. And when we did investigate the major cause of that particular unrest in those particular 7 schools, it was associated with illicit brew and abuse of these substances. So, Your Excellency, the performance of our schools right from primary, secondary, all the way to tertiary and the universities is affected by this. And the age, because the young ones start being initiated in these manners when they are as young as 11 years up to 15 years. It is something which is so serious, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I am going to offer some kind of solution. I will deviate a little bit because I have been in this space for quite some time. When we were making our Constitution 2010, there before, there was agitation that we do away with the provincial administration, that we do away with the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the entire system. Some of us, the 6 of us, if Brother Kindiki can be able to go into his library, he will find a write-up that we did saying that if we do away with the provincial administration, particularly at this lower level, it is going to have very serious repercussions for this country, particularly as far as governance and security issues are concerned at that lower level. And that's why, Your Excellency, of course, the Constitution came, and we thank God that we have provincial administration with us here. But there are aspects which were done by the 2010 Constitution which totally weakened that particular system at that particular level, because I remember the chiefs, the assistant chiefs, they had administration police. Today, Your Excellency, the chiefs, assistant chiefs, what they have is community policing, and the village elders. You cannot be able to counter, you cannot be able to take the kind of action required to be taken as far as these guys are concerned if we don't really give them some kind of punishment so that they can be able to take the necessary remedial action. So mine is to request that as far as we know what the provisions of the Constitution of this country is, we have an administrative arrangement where we must have chiefs, even district officers, because really the way the situation is, we interact with these guys. Each and every time a chief or an assistant chief going to announce that there is such and such a program in an area, so provide the required security personnel, sometimes it doesn't work. That is one of the solutions which I think is necessary for us. Your Excellency, the second one which I think would be a sustainable solution also, the Constitution again of 2010, the major function of any government is to provide security. That is the primary cardinal responsibility and the function of any government. And in this particular one, I think there was a problem somewhere, because if you look at what was happening ever since independence until 2010, trade licenses used to be issued by what we used to have to call trade officers, district trade officers, municipal councils, county councils, but the licensing for RICA, licensing for all these things were done by national government. This very critical security function was removed from national government, which is a major security function, to county governments. I think again, Your Excellency, there has to be some kind of administrative arrangement where counties either have to agree to share this particular function with the national government, because the person who used to be the chair and the person who used to be responsible in the issuance of those licenses was the district commissioner, of course the equivalent of a county commissioner now, and the OCPD. So we require to come up with some kind of arrangement, because that is a very weak link as of now. So if those two areas are sorted out, Your Excellency, I think we can be able to have our chiefs, assistant chiefs, accountable for this, because if we say yes, we have a multi-agency approach, and then we are not assigning any specific individuals to do this particular role, then we might not be able to get a solution by the end of the day. In education, we have taken many measures, including the guidelines and the policy that we came up with NACADA in 2021, guidance and counseling, and we are also making sure that, of course, we try to operationalize certain guidelines which we have issued in order for our schools, our universities not to be infiltrated as much by this menace. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Asante sana. Naibu wa Rais wa Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, mawaziri wenzangu, wabunge, viongozi wote walioko hapa, mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, for putting this together for us all to speak from the heart in addressing this menace. Your Excellency, no one is hated than who speaks the truth. Your Excellency, these are not my words, but words by Plato. Your Excellency, you will be hated. With this business, you will be hated. With this business, you will be victimized. With this business, Your Excellency, will be a punching bag. But I want to encourage you. We are solidly behind you. More particularly, the leadership of this region. Your Excellency, tumetafuta sana majibu. Majibu tumeyatafuta sana. Kwa nini hii biashara ya mihadarati haiishi? Hasa sana hapa Pwani. Kwa nini? Hatujapata majibu, lakini vile umechukua usukani, wewe pamoja na rais wetu, na ndugu yangu hapa, ama my colleague, Waziri Kindiki, I am very sure that we will make a difference. Kwa sababu hili janga ni kubwa, na wakati linapofanyika, kama vile dadangu Susan alivyosema, linatuathiri sana sisi, hasa kina mama. Juzi ulipokuwa mazishini Kirinyaga, list yetu, statistics zetu zilipanda juu kwa sababu ya wajane walioachwa kwa majibu ya mihadharati na pombe. Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, nimeona maajabu sana pia mimi, kama vile Speaker wa Senate alivyosema kwamba IG wetu ameghadhabika na pia nguvu zake kuwa finyu katika kupigana na swala hili la mihadarati, kwa sababu anasema kuna simu huwa zinapigwa na watu wakaeka silaha zao chini mpaka sheria ambayo inawatuma kufanya kazi yao wakaibwaga chini. Tuko karibu kupata suluhisho, kwa sababu yule IG akifuatwa vizuri atasema ni nani anayepiga hizo simu. Hatuwezi kuliacha hapa. Aambiwe na huyo aliyemwambia ni nani anayepiga simu, kwa sababu fikra na dhana na kila mtu hivi sasa hakuna anayefikiria aliyepiga simu, labda isipokuwa watu wanasema lazima atakuwa ni rais. Na sisi tunakataa, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Deputy President, umetembea karibu kaunti zote hivi sasa na katika regions zote. Wewe ukiwa naibu wa rais, bila shaka rais ako juu na ako mbele kuhakikisha ya kwamba hili janga limepata suluhisho. Leo tukitoka hapa kutakuwa na dhana Kwa hivyo IG yeye hakusema amepigiwa simu, na amesema hajawahi pigiwa simu. Anafanya kazi yake kwa mujibu wa sheria na katiba. Si waziri wake, si raisi, si deputy president hajawahi mwambia chochote IG. Lakini IG ameambiwa kwamba kuna oda zinatoka wapi, ama sijui ni simu zinatoka wapi, zinatoka juu. Tunataka kujua ni mbinguni ama ni juu ya mnazi. Hayo lazima tuyajue kwanza, ili we want to clear the air. Hata kama si hapa, mkikutana kule mnakokutana muambizane, kwa sababu tunalingoja hilo jibu, ndio lisiharibu sifa za serikali yetu tukiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Rais na Naibu wa Rais. Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, hakuna mtu aliye juu ya sheria. Tuseme tu ni watu kuzembea kazini. Na huo msemo ambao ameusema Mheshimiwa Kindiki waziri hapa ni kweli. Wanasema wako hapa wanahesabu masiku waende. Tunataka tuwaambie tuko miaka 10. Na majibu ya hii shughuli yatapatikana. Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais elea siku zote. Kwa mfano, ukitembea hapa, umepanda gari yako, uko na watoto, vijana wanatembea barabarani, lakini billboards, yale matangazo ambayo yameandikwa kwa mabillboards, yameandikwa karibu kila county, yote yanaonyesha kwamba utumiaji wa pombe ni starehe. Nani asiyetaka starehe hapa? Kila mtu anataka starehe. Kwa hivyo kama sisi tunapigana na masuala ya pombe na mihadarati, basi yale mabango kama ni lazima yaekwe katika hali ya kutisha. Yasiwe na maneno ambayo yanatia moyo vijana ama yoyote yule, kwa sababu stress zinatupeleka katika masuala hayo. Kwa hivyo hata yale mabango, zile advertisements tunafanya must be regulated and minimized, kwa sababu yanachangia wengine kuona kulewa ni starehe, na yamewekwa kila mahali. Sasa sijui Mheshimiwa Kindiki na pia na county government, hayo maneno tuyaangalie vizuri katika masuala ya matangazo. Lengine, Naibu wa Rais na Mheshimiwa Waziri Kindiki, tumezungumza vizuri kuhusu hawa maofisa wetu hawa, na hatio kwamba hati tunawanyoshea vidole, lakini anayefanya kazi vizuri atuzwe, na yule ambaye hafanyi kazi vizuri kama vile mlivyosema, hatuta transfer shida mahali kwingine. Lakini mimi nataka kusema hivi, tunajua ni routine ya waofisa wetu kukuwa transferred, lakini wale ambao wanafanya kazi nzuri haina haja muwaondoe, muache tu waendelee kuwafanyia wananchi vizuri. Majibu mazuri Kilifi kwa mfano, sisemi kwamba yule aliyeletwa baada ya yule mwingine kuondoka, na sitaki kumtaja jina lake, alikuwa anafanya kazi nzuri sana. Lakini saa hizi tembea hapa, panaitwa hapa Mtwapa hapa, mwana mahali wanapaita maeneo. Hata saa hii ukifika, cocaine inauzwa hadharani, Mtipesa, panaitwa Mtipesa. Na wale askari wetu wanapita. Nimesema ukisema ukweli utakuwa na maadui, lakini mimi na naibu wangu wa rais nafikiri tushazoea. Tumepangwa katika hali hizo, tumetajwa, tumesemwa, lakini maadamu hatubambuki ngozi tutaendelea kusema. Kwa hivyo kuna haja ya wale ambao wanafanya vyema katika yale maeneo ambao wanakuwa posted ama zile station zao, tuwavumilie waendelee kufanya kazi mzuri na watupee majibu. Kwa hivyo hii issue ya transfer sana sana pia tuiangalie. Na sana sana hata hawa viongozi wetu hawa waliochaguliwa na watu, hakuna mtu ambaye anaunga mkono swala hilo, kwa sababu wanategemea watu kuwapigia kura, na kama hawa watu wameisha, sidhani kama hata wao watakuwa wana watu wa kuwapigia kura. Kwa hivyo kila mtu anapiga vita mihadarati. Masuala ya rehabilitation centers nafikiri ni jambo la muhimu sana, kwa sababu tuko na kama 2 ama 3 owned by the government, na hizi nyingine zote kama tulivyosema, na nikasikiza speech ya naibu wa rais, ni kwamba 90,000 Kenya shillings ndio mtoto apelekwe pale mahali ili aende akakuwe rehabilitated. Ni jambo ambalo ni gumu na haliwezekani. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Kindiki, mimi nakushukuru kwa sababu umeshatoa mwongozo ya kwamba serikali iko na mipango ya kuexpand zile ambazo ziko na kuzijenga zingine mpya tukishirikiana na county governments. Lakini sana sana, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, madhara makubwa ya pombe haramu na mihadarati inashuka kwa kina mama na watoto. Wazee wamezembea kutoka kulisha mpaka so sisi tunaathirika. Naibu wa Rais, tuonee huruma hawa watu wetu hawa ambao wamevaa crowns leo, blue, grey, mtu angalie kwa macho ya huruma. Kina mama tunakosa huduma, tunakosa zile haki za kibinadamu kwa sababu ya mihadarati na ulevi. Mwanamume akija kwa nyumba amekuja kama chapati iliyomwagiwa maji, na babangu amekula pesa kwa sababu ya kuangalia maslahi ya mwanawe. Si haki, na hatutaki tufanye demonstration. Tunajua tuko na waziri ambaye akisema sisi wote tafadhali, wewe najua wewe ni he for she, tuhurumie hawa jamaa zako hawa wafanye kazi vilivyo. Kwa hivyo mimi sitaki kuzungumza mengi, lakini nataka nikupongeze Naibu wa Rais na Rais wa Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya, kwa sababu huu ni mwanzo mpya ambao sisi wote tulikuwa tunautamani ufike, watu wakuje pamoja wazungumze kwa sauti moja, na hivi sasa tunaamini mazao na majibu yatapatikana, na janga la mihadarati na dawa za kulevya litapata suluhu. Ni ajabu kwamba nchi yetu katika mipaka yote, nchi kavu, anga, bahari, zote tuko na walinda usalama. Inakuwaje hizi vitu zinaingia zifike Mtwapa? Kivipi? Na kila mahali kuna cartels. Kwa hivyo kama tunapigana na cartels za mashamba, tupigane na cartels za mihadarati. Hata sisi mkitufuata vizuri tutawaambia, kwa sababu hapa ukitaja hapa unaweza ukosa kulala, lakini tukifuatwa vizuri tutasema fuateni huyu atawaelekeza, fuateni huyu atawaelekeza, kwa sababu wanajulikana. Hii biashara haijaanza leo, ni vile tu Naibu wa Rais amechukua kipaumbele kupambana na hili jambo, na kwa sababu yeye is a truthful man, basi tuna imani ya kwamba tutapata jibu. Kwa mengi machache, asanteni sana. Karibu Mheshimiwa Mvurya.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and all my colleagues here present, Excellencies, governors, leaders, good afternoon. Your Excellency, I will speak 2 points because of my multiple personality. One as an elder in this region, and also as Minister for Mining. And the first thing I want to confirm, Your Excellency, is that we are committed to work with the government to make sure that we eradicate the menace of drug abuse in the coast region. We have seen young people who have gone into these drugs. They have been able to, we have lost a whole productive population in this region. Na ukiangalia maeneo mengi, vijana hawawezi tena kufanya kazi. Na mbeleni tulifikiria ni wale ambao hawana kazi ndio wanakuwa kwa uraibu. Lakini tumeona hata wengine wameshindwa na kazi za uaskari, wengine wameshindwa na kazi mbalimbali kwa sababu ya madawa ya kulevya. Your Excellency, you and the President have brought in a difference. This is the first time that the government is committed to fight this menace. I hear the IG and the entire force, because most of the officers are thinking in transition. They are thinking about the other regime, where we had headlines of visa bans, a few names published and no action. And I think the commitment from the top is very important. Kwa hivyo mimi najua baada ya mkutano huu tunatarajia mwamko mpya. Na wakati tunazungumzia mambo ya madawa ya kulevya, 90% ya biashara ya kimataifa inafanyika kwa bahari ya Hindi. Kwa hivyo hapa kwa bahari, wakati mizigo inaletwa, kama 90% inakuwa ni biashara ambayo inafanywa kimataifa, inamaanisha biashara ya madawa pia inafanyika baharini. Kwa hivyo wakati tunapeana vifaa kwa maafisa, ni lazima pia tuhakikishe wale ambao wako kwa bahari, we give them all the support. As the Minister of Blue Economy, from the 1st of April, we will do an inspection which will be very free of all vessels 24 meters and below, because we want to register all vessels, give them a unique number. This is an exercise we begin from 1st of April. However, Your Excellency, wale maafisa wote, kama ni Kenya Navy, kama ni Coast Guard, na wengine wote, wapatiwe special attention. It is unfortunate the blue economy comes in as an AOB, but I think you and His Excellency the President are giving it priority. So on matters security, let us also inspire the Maritime Safety and Security Unit so that it can deal with the issues in the ocean and in the blue space. Another area that we need to be very keen are the mining sites. Artisanal mining activities across the country are also entry points for drugs and also illicit brew. Kwa hivyo tunataka kufanya kazi hapo na kila moja ili tuhakikishe tumeangamiza mambo ya madawa ya kulevya. Lakini uzuri, Your Excellency, vile mnaongoza from the front, nina hakika hata wale maafisa ambao walikuwa wanafikiria mambo ya zamani sasa wataona mwamko mpya. Mengi yamefanyika hapa Coast Region, pengine Your Excellency pengine hujasikia, lakini mengi yamefanyika. Lakini kwa rejimu hii yenu, nina hakika madawa ya kulevya itaangamizwa kabisa. Na hivyo ndivyo tunataka. Kwa sababu hata seafarers wale ambao tuna recruit, kuna baadhi yao wameshindwa na kazi baharini kwa sababu ya withdrawal syndrome ambao wamepata kwa madawa. So it is affecting our population, and let us remain committed to make sure that we eradicate this once and for all. Kwa hivyo Your Excellency will give you all the support. Hata watu wengine wakikutaja majina, we will be there with you to make sure that we eradicate this menace once and for all. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and all leaders here today. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Waziri. Now we are going into the last session, which is a plenary session. And as we get into that session, allow me to acknowledge the presence of my PS colleagues. There is PS in charge of devolution, PS Mbaika. I saw the PS in charge of transport, Mohamed Dagar. And I'm told there's PS Health. Feel welcome. Now, because I want us to do this in the next half an hour, nataka niombe msamaha, because it means that for all of us to speak in the next 30 minutes, it will be practically impossible. But at least we need to pick up what may have been missed from all the speeches that we've had, beginning from the guidance that was given by His Excellency, the Deputy President. And if our speech will be confined to things that would help us get solutions to the challenges that we are facing, because we fully appreciate what the problem is. Now, I would want to invite the Honorable MP for Nyali to come and help me with this session. And we have microphones around which will be moving. So we try and be brief to the point, and if an issue has already been raised, please let's not re-raise it unless it's for purposes of emphasis. So, Mheshimiwa Ali, your work is cut out. I don't want to take the flak from your colleague leaders. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, hamujambo. I'll be very brief before I allow my colleagues to contribute and say something on the drugs issue. Your Excellency, I've been in the forefront fighting drugs in my other career when I was a journalist, and have been highlighting a lot of issues. I'm very happy because this is the first time that we are having such an event in Mombasa County. And I believe we are going to achieve and get the results out of this meeting. Your Excellency, Mombasa City is a unique city. It is a city with 3 main roads. One from here to Lamu, the other one from here to Lunga Lunga, and the other one from here to Nairobi. Apart from the entry point, the port entry of Moi International Airport, the port itself, and at some other small ports where these drugs are being sneaked on. But Your Excellency, I keep on wondering, a city with 3 main roads is becoming difficult to handle because there is no willingness at the port of entry. If you look at Lunga Lunga, those who are manning that point, they don't have the facilities. The sniffer dogs, you cannot detect drugs without a machine. At the port itself, I remember I did a story on the 6.4 billion cocaine that was seized in Malindi. They used to go with a speedboat inside the ocean and pick it there from the ships and then come and distribute all over. Your Excellency, this is doable. And I'm happy because my good friend Waziri is here. The beauty with the two, the PS and Waziri Internal Security, they are quiet men. They don't talk, but they walk, they talk. And we have seen what they have done all over the country. And Your Excellency, it is easy to win this war if we connect the dots of intelligence by listening and acting. Amongst ourselves are good officers. In every market, Waswahili wanasema, kila soko haikosi mwenda wazimu. We might have small officers, a few numbers, who are not willing to play along and make sure that we protect this country. Look at Singapore and Malaysia. I am a member of parliament, but there's a day I went there for benchmarking. And I started shaking 10 minutes to the landing because of the document that they give it to you and tell you that if you are arrested with even one roll of marijuana, it's life imprisonment. In other countries, you will be hanged. I will quote Malcolm X. This is for you, Professor. Malcolm X said, sometimes we have to pick up the gun to put the gun down. In this case, we have to pick up the gun to put the drugs down. And we are not going to complain. Whether they will be killed, whether they will be hanged, we want this generation, the coming generation, to enjoy their lives. Today, Your Excellency, you will be visiting Nyali constituency. Of course, you are in Nyali constituency, but you will be going to another ward called Freer Ward. It is clean. It is the base and hub of those addicts. But today it is clean because you are coming. If you leave today in the evening, more than 1,000 will be there. Nakada should pull up their socks. I've heard you saying about some areas in Mombasa. That is your own opinion, Paul. You need to ask us, the leaders, and we will tell you where the problem is. You haven't mentioned Nyali, Mkomani, Shauri Yako, Majengo Mapya. You haven't mentioned where I have problem. And now we had a problem of hard drugs. Now we have another problem coming in big time. The liquor issue. This is the only county that operates that the bars are allowed to sell alcohol 6 in the morning when children are going to school. There's an area called Bamburi Vescon in Nyali. Bars are operating 24 hours. There is a law in this country, and the laws must be adhered to. Children are no longer going to school. They are getting inside there. That is why you see we have a lot of issues. Vijana na mapanga, Kibokoni, Nyali, Likoni, Kisauni, everywhere. And this can be done. We can wipe out if we want to. The officers also. You know, I'm an officer myself. I've been with them in some difficult terrains during my days as a journalist. There are those officers who are willing to work hard, but they are also under pressure from their seniors. They will receive calls and be told, drop that thing. I am not a lawyer, Your Excellency, but I think, and I stand to be guided, we should have the office of the ODPP closer to the stations. Because sometimes these good police officers, men and women, do all they can, arrest these drug lords, but majority of them will just say, let us offload them. 24 hours thing. They are so not supposed to be in court, and then they are taken to court. But they haven't captured it properly the way it is supposed to be done. That is why sometimes the courts looks at how the case has been filed and throw it out. So we must have a strategic way of making sure ukifikishwa pale kotini hakuna kurudi nyuma. Your Excellency, these people are known. And they live a posh life. When I saw Nakada doing some raids, ya shisha hapa Nyali, I was very happy. Because shishas are not sold on the sides of the streets. They are sold in bungalows, main house, half an acre house. Shisha, prostitution, chewing of mira, mogoka, another problem that we have nowadays. Schools, people are now building bars near schools. People are building bars near mosques. Who is giving them these licenses? The county must also pull up its socks. I know you want money, but consider the children of this great country of ours before you give out the licenses. When I was in the media, I used to say that when the police go and raid somewhere after we have highlighted a story, I used to say it's all about the show of the uniform. Please, Nakada, don't stop. Don't stop because people are happy here. Go now to Bamburi Vescon. Raid all those areas and make sure they follow the laws of this country, that all the bars in this country must be open at around 5. And those officers who mess up, those officers who are corrupt, I agree with you, Your Excellency, Waziri, they should not be transferred. They should be fired on the spot. You cannot transfer corruption to another county. Let's deal with those who are not performing and also deal with those who are performing. Hawa watu ni wangwana sana, ni watu wazuri hao officers. Hata wao wako na shida zao. Ni sharti pia hawa wasikizwe ili waweze kupata motisha na nguvu ya kupigana na dawa za kulevya. With this meeting, Your Excellency, I believe by the time we are done, we want to see boots on the ground so that we can be able to save this generation. Hii kitu, Your Excellency, imezidi sana. Ni kubwa sana. Watoto mazezeta. You see a young man sleeping while standing in the streets of Mombasa and he can't fall. Where do they get these drugs? The entry point are those that I've mentioned when I started my conversation here with you guys. We can do it. In my last term, in my first term as a member of parliament, I passed a bill, Mheshimiwa Kithure Kindiki, it is there, the drugs and psychotropic substances. And the former president appended his signature in it. There was an issue of cash bail or bond. You arrest a drug baron with cocaine worth 300 million. He gets a bond of 500,000. He can afford. But now we have changed. We have given you the opportunity to share their property. We have given you the opportunity that if they write any property under their children, you take it because there is no class 6 boy or a Form 1 boy who can afford a bungalow worth 100 million. Take it. It belongs to the government of Kenya. Turn those houses into rehabilitation centers and heal the nation. I am an angry man because I know what the drugs have done to my people. And this should come to an end. In the next meeting that we are going to have, let us celebrate the results. Hawa watu si wa kubembeleza. Ni watu wa kulima msumari kwa nyundo. Ukiona unagonga kwa sababu they are making a lot of money and they are destroying the youth of this country. Your Excellency, nikiendelea hivi sana nitaongea. Allow me now to be able to invite my colleagues, and because of time I'll go per county, but allow me to start with our deputy leader of majority, Owen Bayer, the landman. Karibu sana.
Our Deputy President, and I would like to recognize the protocols established. And Mbunge wa Nyali, I like your zeal. I think when Mombasa has a leader like, Mombasa County has a leader like Mohammed Ali, drugs will not reach Kilifi. So I wish you well. I wish you well in your journey. But I want to say this, Deputy President. You see, this drug issue, there are two principal things. One, you have a supplier and someone who demands the goods. In between the supplier and the person demanding, there's a police officer. Whether the supplier supplies to the one demanding or the demander gets from the supplier, it depends on what the police officer will do. And that is where this whole matter lies squarely. Because the people in Kilifi today, you take you to a place called Kosovo, Your Excellency, in Kilifi, near a place called Kasarani, you'll be shocked. The young people right now sleeping in the sun. Wamekunywa madawa, wamelewa, wamelala hapa wanangojea the next supply. Pale Kilifi, wale suppliers wanaitwa madaktari. Daktari amefika, adungo ile kitu na daktari, ama apewe anuse, akule kidogo, akuwe sawa. And the officers know. And they know that the madaktaris, the suppliers in Kilifi are called daktari. Dr. Amefika. But, you know, nobody wants to do anything. That is one of the things that I would like to say. Our officers need to up their game. They need to know that they have a responsibility to the young people whose lives are being destroyed, to cut the supply. We can never manage drugs unless we cut the supply. The people that can cut the supply are our officers. They know how they come in, and they know who peddles, they know the doctors, they know everything. And they have intelligence. And our intelligence officers know these things. But Professor Kindiki, I'll tell you that I know, because I'm a member of parliament and I live in the village, and I know. And I can tell Askaris, this is the guy who is spoiling our children. But they will look at me and mimi na haribia biashara. Mimi na haribia biashara. Today, if you come to Takaungu, I'm surprised why the Nakada people did not mention Takaungu. Today, if you went to Takaungu today, you will see the zombies that are there. And Takaungu has a channel, and that channel connects Mombasa. And the boats which bring the drugs come to Takaungu, they offload, waeke kwa pikipiki, and they will know, hii pikipiki ile pikipiki ile, ndio zinatumiwa kusafirisha madawa. And they know them. But they will never, actually the police on the road stop the other pikipikis, lakini hiyo pikipiki hiyo, paka itapigiwa salute, itapita, itaenda. It will supply drugs. And these are things that we know. So if the Nakada people don't even mention, they don't have statistics for Takaungu, then I ask themselves, what really is the future of this country? If you go up north, you go to a place called, in my constituency, Mayungu. Mayungu is very close to Malindi. Who doesn't know that Mayungu is an entry point for drugs? In Mayungu, you know, I even built a police station there, a building that I said this be a police station to stop the drugs menace there. Today, I don't even have one police officer in Takaungu area. The chief who is there does not even have an askari, and yet it is a far-flung area, and it has a small port, and drugs come in through that place. Mnarani, Nakada mentioned Mnarani. Mnarani is in the heart of Kilifi, and everybody knows the old ferry place, you know where the ferry used to be. Who doesn't know that drugs come in through Mnarani? Everybody knows that drugs come in through Mnarani. But I want to tell you this. It comes down again, or it goes up, it escalates up to what the officers in Nairobi. Aisha talked about an officer who was here in Kilifi. He was called Koech. He was a fighter. He fought the drugs baron here in Kilifi. And he would give us reports about what he's doing. But what happened, I'll tell you, that shock you. One of the drug dealers is called Katashingo. You know, a person called Katashingo is a dangerous man. And he came to his office, he said, you are spoiling my business and I will have you transferred. And sincerely, the transfer for that guy came. I went to every office. I went to every, including Kiture Kindiki's office. And I said, do not transfer that guy. He's the only hope we have to fight the drugs. But what happened, nobody listened to me. He was transferred. The kids are dying even more and more because that guy was transferred. So when we talk about the war on drugs, unless we are deliberate in the actions that we take, we will never win the war on drugs. But there is hope that you have started. Listen to us as leaders, the political leaders. We know, we live in the village, we listen, people tell us. And we can help in the war. The politicians can help in the war on drugs. But I'll tell you, unless we put this thing together, we will never achieve what we want. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Asante. Now, very quickly, let's have Kwale Tandaza, tukue na Lamu next, and then Taita Taveta, and then Mombasa, tukue na Fulangwengwe. Tunakuja pole pole. Let's start with those. Tandaza 2 minutes. Hapo tu, kaa tu hapo. Tandaza 2 minutes, alafu patia Ruweida 2 minutes, and then Haika, and then Badi.
Thank you for having this opportunity. Mine will be very brief. One, when we were doing our discussion after the exams, it came out very clearly that drugs are in school. Let me take this opportunity to thank my DCC for Matuga, who upon informing her, she took it upon herself. These people were arrested. They appeared before court, but our worry, as my other colleagues have said, is the court process again. How much I wish Your Excellency, the Deputy President, in our next engagements, you also get somebody from the judiciary so that he can get it straight from us that they are also frustrating the efforts against drug abuse. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Rueda. Asante. 2 minutes so that we can give an opportunity to others.
Asante. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, mimi ningependa kueleza masikitiko yangu kwa Nakada. Nakada kama wanafanya kazi basi wanafanya Mombasa. Lamu East, hata katika statistics zao hakuna pahali wametaja kuna drugs. kwa sababu statistics yote yamezungumzia bangi na hizo zingine hard drugs zote, wamezungumza Lamu West. Hakuna pahali hata moja kwa ile aliozungumza sahihi, wangeleta printout uone, hakuna pahali alitaja Lamu East. It means Lamu East hakuna drugs, na drugs zimebobea, watoto wangu wanaisha. Kwa hivyo masikitiko ni kwamba Lamu East wanahesabu iko mbali. Naona sijui ni RC alianza kuzungumza, OCS wa mbali zaidi ni wa Kizingitini. Nini sasa jiwe likirusha likifika kule huwa limekosa nguvu. Mimi sahihi naomba Deputy President, kama kweli mnataka kudeal na drugs, tuanze Lamu East mkija hivi. Kwa sababu Lamu East ni padogo na inaweza ikawa kama pilot project, mkasema tumemaliza Lamu East, sasa tuende kaunti zingine. Ya pili, nataka kusema tafadhali msituletee police officers ambao ni punishment mkawaleta kule kwetu. Wakileta wanakuwa hawana haja, they have nothing to lose. Wanaachia watu wakule hizo drugs. Lengine nataka kuomba
mbili tupatie
mbili.
Ya mwisho.
Sasa kuna ingine mjue kule Lamu East hakuna biashara yote ambayo inaweza fanya. Na hawa police officer mjue, sisi tukisema pia tuna ndugu zetu on your side, upande wao wenu. Lakini kule Lamu East biashara ambayo inaweza kufanywa ni kuchaji permit za harusi na drugs. Hakuna biashara nyingine. Hakuna matatu, hakuna kuzunguka mkapata kitu. Kwa hivyo hilo mlijue tatizo liko. Waziri Kindiki na Deputy President, naomba maofisa wanawake wawe wengi. Kule watu wakitaka kufanywa search anasema mimi ni Muislamu usinishike, kumbe kuna wanawake tunawajua wanapeleka hizo drugs. Ingine nataka I suggest vile ni island kule.
Mheshimiwa bakishia wengine.
Vile ni island kule. Mimi Lamu hajazungumza hata governor, niachie nafasi. Lamu governor hakuna.
Kuna wengine mheshimiwa.
Mimi ndio wa Lamu peke yangu hapa ambaye sasa ninazungumza. Nasema vile ni island, kitu ikiwekwa Faza ward haiwezi saidia mtu akiunga ward. Kwa hivyo pia muzifikirie unique challenges za Lamu. Kitu kingine, kuna upande wa DCI Vita Venu, DCI na polisi, utasikia kesi imeenda kotini, ukifika inaambiwa polisi ndio aliipeleka, kwa hivyo kotini haikuwa na nguvu etekana ofisa wa DCI. Kule kwetu Lamu East hakuna maofisa wa DCI. Nimesema hakuna. Doko ni mmoja na ni mlevi. Yeye mwenyewe tabani ya roho yake. Kitu kingine nataka kuzungumza.
Ya mwisho mheshimiwa, tafadhali, ya mwisho.
Upande wa health, yuko waziri wa health hapa. Tafadhali ile methadone, tafadhali hakikisha imefika kule, kila island ipate ile methadone, inatusaidia. Naona Faza karibu mnaleta, na kule island zingine mlete. Ya mwisho, nataka kusaidia, wapeni machifu silaha. Maana yake mnajua mimi ndio kwangu machifu 3 wameuawa kwa sababu ya mambo ya drugs. Iko kwa record, machifu 3 wameuawa. Kwa hivyo wapeni silaha wao, kama hamwezi kuwapa polisi, wapeni silaha ndio tutasaidiana kwa mambo ya drugs.
Asante sana. Waziri, umesikia kuna DCI mmoja na hata huyo ni mlevi.
Asante sana, yangu yatakuwa machache na niko na furaha sana kwamba tuko na haya mazungumzo. Na nafurahi sana kwa sababu katika haya mazungumzo tunakubaliana ya kwamba iko shida. Na kutambua kwamba iko shida na kukubali kwamba iko shida ni mwanzo wa kupona. Yangu ya kwanza nataka kusema hivi. Ninafurahi sana ya kwamba tumezungumzia mambo ya transfers. Jana nilikuwa kijijini ndani kule sana, na ikawa nimewaambia wale wanakijiji kwamba leo nitakuwa hapa kwa haya mazungumzo, na wakanituma naibu wa rais. Na ninashukuru sana ya kwamba yale maswala walinituma naona yakishughulikiwa. Waliniambia polisi wasikue transferred kwa sababu hawa maskari wanajua nyumba zote za pombe, na wakati wanaenda transfer wanafanya handing over kwa wale wanakuja. Kwa hivyo hatujabadilisha chochote. Akija anaambiwa ni hapa, ni pale, ni vile. Yale yalikuwa yanaendelea kuendelea. Kwa hivyo hatujasaidiana hapo. Nashukuru ya kwamba kama kuna uzembe, kama kuna utepetevu, mtu apumzishwe, mwingine apewe nafasi. La pili, mimi niko na mtazamo mpya.
Ya tatu hiyo.
Ya pili, niko na mtazamo mpya. Kule Taita Taveta, mimi nimezungumza na wakina mama, Nimezungumza na vijana ambao wanatengeneza pombe na kuuza pombe. Nimewaambia namna hii, wakiwachana na hayo maswala, wakijiunda kama group, mimi nitawapatia pesa za mradi mpya. Na hilo nimeshaanza kulifanya. Wakiwacha kuuza pombe, wale kina mama wakishikana kama group, kwa sababu sisi kama wakina mama tuko na zile pesa za ngafu za women rep. I fund those groups ili wanawacha ile mambo walikuwa nafanya, wanapata zile pesa, wanaanza kufanya mambo mapya. Hata kuna group moja tayari nimeshawanunulia posho mill. Siku hizi wameacha kuuza pombe, wanasimama kwa posho mill, wanajipatia mapato. Kwa hivyo pia tukiwa na huo mtazamo wa kuona ni vipi, kwa sababu kuna wale ambao tangu wazaliwe ndo kazi wamefanya wakijipatia mapato. So we have to come up with an alternative, wale wako chini kabisa kule mashinani. Na tukiwaonyesha kwamba tunaweka mkono, watawacha zile tabia, watawacha ile maneno, na tuwasaidie tuweze kuwatoa pale. It is a form of rehabilitation kwa wale wauzaji na si wale watumiaji.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
Ya mwisho kabisa nikipatiana kipaza sauti.
Haya, mpe fulani.
Nataka kusema hivi. Pia Taita Taveta, mimi kama mama county kwa miaka 5 nilizochaguliwa, nimekuwa nikiweka pesa kidogo kidogo ili kujenga Rescue Camp Rehabilitation Center. What I need is the support from the national government, even the county government. Tukifanya kazi pamoja tutamaliza lile jengo rehabilitation ili tuweze kusaidia, nani ya public, ni ya serikali, ili tuweze kusaidia wale ambao wana hizo shida. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Haika from Taita.
Badi. Asante Mohamed Ali. Naitwa Mheshimiwa Badi. For the interest of time, nataka kumtambua Deputy President na viongozi wote walioko hapa. Hili ni jambo zuri sana, lakini lazima tuangalie kwa angle tatu. Supply reduction, demand reduction na harm reduction. Haya yamezungumzwa na wenzetu. Supply ni kumaanisha Kenya hatuna shamba la kukuza heroin. Lakini tukiangalia inaletwa na watu ambao vyombo vyetu wa usalama lazima ifanye bidii sana kuangalia waweza vipi kuzuia hiyo. Pia jambo ya pili, nimemsikia dadangu Roida akizungumza juu ya methadone. Methadone kwangu Miritini watoto ni 304 Your Excellency ambao wamekuwa enrolled katika hiyo mambo methadone. Vile vile 750 ndio ambao wameweza kufikiwa kitumia mambo ya heroin. Lakini la zaidi ambalo mimi nataka kusema, nataka kuchukua fursa hii Your Excellency kumshukuru mke wako Mama Dorcas, watoto 22 aliwalipia fully katika rehabilitation center. Tumpigie makofi Mama Dorcas kwa hiyo. Vile vile Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, nataka kuambia kuna mahali kuitwa Shikadabu na Marimani ambapo Mheshimiwa Governor ambaye kwa leo ametuma Deputy Governor wake na tumtolea apology kwa sababu ameitwa kwa Senate. Hizi ni center 2 ambazo yeye ameziweka, zinataka ziwe fully equipped ili kuona kuwa zitakuwa rehabilitation center to complement ile ya Miritini. Alafu Your Excellency, ile ya Miritini watoto ambao wanalala hapo ni 44, 32 wanaume na 12 ni wanawake. Lakini as I'm talking to you hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, sehemu hili atakana ipanuliwe. Mheshimiwa Kindiki amesema tumeweka budget. Lakini mimi nikiwa mbunge wa hapo, nataka kusema jambo hili maadamu umelivalia njuga. Kitambo budget ifike, watoto wetu wanaumia. Wewe kama Makamu wa Rais, katika kiti ya ofisi yako, tuangalie namna gani tutaweza kuongeza ili kuenua katika ile rehabilitation center ya pale Miritini. Pia nataka kuripotia leo, amekuja hapa mtu anaitwa Karisa ambaye yuko pale. Ameeleza zile sports ambazo ameeleza, pia mimi sikubaliani nazo, akisema kuwa kuna sehemu kama Aldina na sehemu nyingine ambazo wamezitaja ni sehemu ambazo haziingia akilini, kwa kweli zinafanyiwa mambo hayo ya madawa. Pia vile vile nataka kuripotia kwa mwezi 1.5 hakuna maji katika hiyo rehabilitation center ya Miritini, na amekuja hapa kusema. Kwa hivyo hivi sasa Coast Water ndio ambao wamelipwa pesa last week na Mombasa Water, lakini deliberately sijui ni kwa sababu gani hawaiki maji katika hiyo sehemu ambayo iko hapo.
Asante sana.
Hiyo Excellency, nataka kuelezea Karisa hakusema kuelekea kwa hiyo the only rehabilitation center Miritini katika kuifanya kazi wa raisi. Mimi pia nilifanya juhudi, niliweka kabro. Kufikia hapo barabara nimeifanya imekuwa nadhifu. Kwa hivyo walivyosema madam Mheshimiwa Gavana Fatuma Achani, walivyosema na Mheshimiwa Kingi, Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, si kwa kuwa mambo haya hujayasikia, twayafanya chini, twasaidie watu wetu. Ni kwa sababu tu moja ambayo labda hajaweza kufikia kwenye masikio yako. Na vile ulivyosema kwa wewe ni msema kweli. Hata mimi Fulangenge leo nataka niseme kweli kidogo, kukwambia kuwa mlango wako uweke wazi ili na sisi tuweze kufikia, uweze kuyasikia yale tunayofanya katika sehemu zetu. Kwa hivyo kwa haya,
asante sana.
Mimi nataka kusema Muhammad ya mwisho kabisa, ya mwisho kabisa. Tarehe 26 June, Mheshimiwa Gavana wetu Abdulswamad Sharif Nassir alifanya walk ya awareness ambayo iliunganisha viongozi wote hapa Mombasa ili kusema no to drugs. Kwa hivyo jambo hili ambalo tulipajia njuga leo tumeanza kulifanyia kazi, na hivi sasa yeye hayuko, amesema baada ya mkutano wako ndani ya wiki 2 atatuita tena kama viongozi ndani ya Mombasa to see the way forward. Asante, Mwenyezi Mungu atubariki.
Asante sana. Sasa nitachukua wengine wa 4 wa mwisho. Mheshimiwa Mwashako utakuwa wa mwisho kama mwenyekiti wa Coast Parliamentary Group. Wewe ndio utatufungia chapter, si namna hiyo? So nitachukua hapa Senator, nitachukua Dado, nataka kubalance na county. Charlotte atusamee, Mombasa imeongea. Haya kule because kuna madamu wetu hapa Senator, Mheshimiwa Senator, alafu ufunge kazi wewe Msambweni. Tutamalizia hapo. Lamu lishapatiana. So dakika 2.
Asante, Your Excellency. Sisi kule Tana River, taabu kubwa ni muguka. Na hii muguka inakuja kutoka sehemu ya Meru. Muguka pamoja na Miraa, they go through several counties mpaka zifike hapo kwetu. Na hii shida ingine ya a little bit of hard drugs upande wa coastal constituency zinatoka supply chain ni Mombasa. So we have a supply chain from Meru and a supply chain from Mombasa. My suggestion is that ikiwa wale polisi wangekuwa wakifanya random search and also to use sniffer dogs, because sniffer dogs ndio wanaweza kupata drugs ambazo zinaletwa. So that's one. Number 2, Your Excellency, tuko na decision. This is my final point. A decision was made in the High Court, and I know Professor Kindiki will relate to this, that Muratina is a traditional brew, and therefore it is not something that should be treated like an illicit drug or an illicit drink. Now here in the coast, Tana River tuko na Mkoma, hapa tuko na Mnazi, kuna uko juu kwetu kwa Wajomba tuko na Mbangara. So the question, I think this goes to the DPP. You need to have a discussion. How should we treat traditional brews? Are they going to be part of us? And if they are part of us, how is KEBS relating to that? Because it is also messing up with our people. Kule kwetu Tana River tunajua ule mkoma, kuna mkoma mzuri na ule mkoma mbaya. So we need to have a decision about that so that we have a proper direction on the issue of traditional brews.
Thank you very much.
And if you are not agreeing with it,
asante.
Ngoja nimalize mheshimiwa.
Asante.
Huyu ODPP, they need to make an appeal on that judgment so that we have clarity on the direction.
Thank you very much. Asante sana. Senator Miraj. Alafu Dado, Ambassador, and then tumemaliza na Msambweni, alafu chairman mwenyewe kijana mtanashati.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Naibu wa Rais, na nikizingatia itifaki zote, tatizo tulilonalo Bwana Naibu wa Rais ni kwamba pale ambapo kuna hivi vituo vya kurekebisha tabia za hawa wagonjwa wetu wa mihadarati, ndio kumekuwa maeneo ya kuuzwa hiyo mihadarati. Ni kumaanisha sisi kama serikali tumewaletea wateja wale walanguzi wa madawa ya kulevya. Hata hapo tunapokwenda ambako Mohamed Ali amekualika mheshimiwa wetu wa Nyali, kando ya skuli mihadarati inauziwa hapo kila siku mchana peupe. Wazazi wanashika watoto wao, naibu wa rais, asubuhi badala ya kwenda kazini inabidi washike watoto wakubwa ambao wanaweza kufika wenyewe ili kuhakikisha hawalaghaiwi kuingia katika masuala ya mihadarati. Bwana naibu wa rais, mimi nilikuwa wa kwanza baada ya kuapishwa. Nilienda kituo cha Citizen na nilikuwa tayari kutaja majina ya wale wanauzia watoto wetu ile inaitwa bugizi, dawa ya wenda wazimu, ndio watoto wetu wanakula. Na sababu usisikie viongozi wa pwani wakizungumzia madawa ya kulevya ni kwa sababu walanguzi wametumia mbinu mpya ya kuwapa mapanga vijana, wakati sisi tunaendelea kuzungumza masuala ya mapanga, wao wanaendelea kushamirisha biashara yao ya madawa ya kulevya. Kwa sababu ukiangalia ni kitu gani watoto wanaopigana mapanga kwa sababu yake ni nini, utapata the root cause of the juvenile gangs ni hard drugs. Kwa hivyo naibu wa rais, unapoondoka hapa, sisi Waswahili hatuna sherehe. Watoto wetu wa kike hawaendi klabu. Sherehe yetu ni harusi yetu, tukeshe. Ni miaka 10 sasa Waswahili, culture ya pwani, hatuwezi kujidai, hatuwezi kusherekea harusi zetu kwa sababu ya watoto wa mapanga ambao the root cause ni mihadarati. Kwa hivyo naibu wa rais, maisha yetu ya pwani yamebadilika. Na mimi nimekuwa nikilia na nitaendelea kulia kama mtoto wa kike, kama mzazi katika mkoa huu wa Pwani. Nimekwenda kwa ofisi ya yule kiongozi aliyesimamishwa, ikasemekana anapigiwa simu. Nikamwambia mimi nimekuwa katika kituo cha televisheni, nimeongea masuala ya dawa ya kulevya, na mimi leo nimeshindwa kulala kwangu, na niko na barua ya kuhakikisha haya. Na kakangu wallahi billahi aliniambia, Bwana Harsame kama sijakosea yuko hapa, akanambia, dada, tatizo ya mihadarati Pwani, haumjui mzuri ni nani na humjui mbaya ni nani. Hatutapata ofisa mwingine kama Nelson Marwa hapa Mombasa. Ndiye kiongozi peke yake aliyekuwa regional coordinator akipambana head on na masuala ya mihadarati.
Asante sana.
Na siwaambii hivi kuwafisha moyo ndugu zangu. Sisi tuko hapa, tuko na goodwill kwa sababu kesho na kesho kutwa watoto wetu wa kike hawatakuwa na mabwana wa kuwaoa. Kizazi chetu cha Pwani kinaangamia. Viongozi wetu wa kesho wanaangamia. Na kuomba truthful man, unaporudi Nairobi, isiwe hiki ndo kikao cha kwanza na cha mwisho. Njoo utusaidie, na sisi tuko tayari. Tutatembea na wewe mguu mosi, mguu pili.
Asante sana.
Kina mama walimwagiwa.
Asante sana, Senator.
Na mama Farida Toli.
Asante sana.
Wapi? Hata hawakuhusishwa
Senator,
katika hiki kikao.
thank you, Senator.
Na CSOs nyingine nyingi ambazo zinakazana, kina Abdurrahman Taib ambao wamekuwa wakingangana na sisi kuwarekebisha. Lakini sisi tuwaomba.
Thank you, Senator.
Ndugu zetu ambao ni mapolisi, twawapenda sana. Na mkiona amuletewi habari ni kwa sababu watu wakitoka wanakuwa witch hunted, kwa sababu hatujui ni nani amekwenda kuambia wauzaji fulani ametuletea habari kwamba wewe ndio unapeana madawa ya kulevya.
Asante sana. Asante Senator, thank you. Tumpigie makofi. Asante sana. Faisal Msambweni mheshimiwa, alafu sasa tumalize na Dado na CPG chair.
Asante sana mheshimiwa
naibu rais
na itifaki yote nikizingatia. Asante kwa huu mkutano mheshimiwa naibu wa rais. Ni mkutano wa muhimu na wa maana sana katika mkoa wetu huu wa Pwani, kuja kuokoa vijana wetu wengi walioathirika na utumizi wa madawa ya kulevya. Mheshimiwa naibu wa rais, mimi niko na masikitiko makubwa sana kwa sababu constituency yangu haina port entry, iko katikati. Port entry ni pale Lungalunga na hapa Mombasa. Lakini ya kushangaza, madawa ya kulevya katika Kwale County hub yake ni Msambweni, ikiwa ni Diani. Sasa yani kunishangaza, sisi tumeambiwa tuko na intelligence nzuri sana, kama si ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu ulimwenguni. Sasa hii intelligence kazi yake ni nini? It's either mambo ni mawili. Wao wanafanya kazi, wanapeana report. Sasa ile report kufanyiwa kazi, hapo ndio kuna uzembe. Pili, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, tatizo la officers wetu wa polisi. Watu wakisema officers, yule ambaye anakuwa target ni OCPD na OCS. Sasa pale kwangu Msambweni na particularly Diani Police Station, nimegundua iko tatizo. Tatizo ni overstaying of junior police officers. Kuna junior police officers wamekaa zaidi ya miaka 10 plus. Na in 8 months nimeondolewa OCPDs 2 na wameondolewa OCS 3. Sasa hawa junior officers ndio cartels wa hiyo maneno ya drugs hapo Diani.
Asante sana.
Sababu wakati OCPD na OCS wamekuja, wanapanga mikakati, hao ndio wakitoka wanatipu hizo. Tulia mwa.
Shukran.
Hao ndio wanatipu wale wauzaji wa hayo madawa. Yes. Hao ndio wanatipu wale wenye chang'aa dens na mambo kama hayo. Kwa hiyo unless hawa junior officers pia waangaliwe na watolewe, waletwe fresh men and women officers ambao watashirikiana na hawa OCPDs na OCS.
Asante sana Governor Dado, alafu tumalize na mwashako mheshimiwa tuweze kukamilisha. Dakika 2 tafadhali.
Your Excellency, I'll put it in very precise points. First, this country should bring back death penalty like Singapore and other countries to deal with drug dealers. Number 2, we introduce the dangers of drugs to our children in the curriculum from primary, secondary. By the time they reach adolescence, they would have known these dangers. Peer pressure will not affect them. Your Excellency, this country is respected so much. I led a delegation of NACADA to United Nations drug whatever agency. They wanted to legalize bangi that day. I was the first voice that rejected that, and so many countries supported us, and we overcame that motion. Why can't we do it at home here? Finally, as we said, an officer who has not performed should not be transferred but should be sacked there, and those who do well should also be promoted on the spot. I have an example of an officer, an excellent officer here in Kisauni. Nitakueleza IG baadaye, who has done a lot of wonders.
Thank you very much. And lastly, let us have now the chairman of CPG, the young man, Mwashako mwenyewe kutoka Taita.
Thank you, Moha. Naibu wa Rais, Mheshimiwa Rigiji, mawaziri walioko hapa na all protocols observed. Mimi naitwa Dan Mwashako, mbunge wa Undanyi. Mwenzangu Haika aliongea masuala ya Taita Taveta, lakini nataka nichangie tu kwa ujumla kama mwenyekiti wa vuguvugu la wabunge na maseneta wa Pwani. La kwanza, Naibu wa Rais, if there is one thing I would want to support you, it is this business you started. This is one thing that touches my heart. Yesterday, I buried a relative, a nephew, who committed suicide because of msongomano wa mawazo kwa sababu ya pombe. We are losing young men and women kwa sababu ya mambo makubwa sana yanayosababishwa na pombe. So hii safari tuko na wewe. Na la pili niseme kwamba wabunge wengi hapa ambao watapata nafasi ya kuongea, naomba niseme kwa niaba yao kwamba these members of parliament of this region are doing so much, His Excellency. They may not have come to your office. They may not have got an opportunity to call you. But I want to say on their behalf that there is so much each and every member of parliament is doing on these matters, illicit brew and mihadarati. I have cases here, my friend from Lamu West was telling me, he kitu imefanya hapa NACADA, it must have been a desktop appraisal. Because wabunge hawa wote hawajui hiyo report. So we are wondering, NACADA, who are you working with if it's not members of parliament? Because even the places that have been mentioned here, even in my constituents, you mentioned Sungululu. Sungululu is just a very big area. It can't be a place where mihadarati na pombe inauzwa. So please just pull up a bit, speak to members of parliament because we know where the problem is. Secondly, I want to appreciate...
Lastly, please.
I want to appreciate the members of Ngao who have been working very closely with members of parliament, whereby we bring issues to you, and some of them we've acted. But the truth be told, weakest link on these issues are our enforcement agencies. I think it's been said here. Weakest link is enforcement agencies. We give information, these guys get arrested, but within a week, some of them are released by cash bail, some of them never see the inside of a court. So that is the weakest thing. But lastly, before I sit, His Excellency, last Parliament I sponsored a bill on alcohol control amendment bill that I wanted to regulate the sizes, the packaging of spirits. We talk about hard drugs here, but spirits that I know there are menace in central Kenya, there are also menace in Taita Taveta. There are cartels that are making that illicit brews, packaging it with certification from KEBS. Yet, these are what you call kill me quick. Pombe ambayo inauzwa rahisi na ni 250 ml. The bill I proposed, which I would want to come to your office, maybe renegotiate and see how it can see the light of day, because it was fought left, right, and center, His Excellency. I wanted to increase the packaging of spirits from 250 ml that is easily accessible by young people to minimum 750 ml and make them returnable containers. So that then, first of all, we deal with the spirits that young men take, the boda guys carry, and they drink everywhere. You have, that is one thing I'd like to negotiate. But last one,
thank you very much, Mashako. Asante sana. Tumefikia mwisho wa hiyo. Nitawachia sasa katibu wa kudumu, lakini nikisema hivi, tafadhali. Asante sana. Asante sana.
Wacha niseme hivi, ninaomba His Excellency, after this event, which is a very good event, a coastal event, I would like us to have the county-specific events. County-specific. And where possible, my governor invited you to Taita. Possibly you can even coordinate and chair the Taita Taveta event. So that when you have county-specific events, these members of parliament will get an opportunity to speak and air their grievances about this issue. Thank you, His Excellency.
Haya, asante sana for the men and women in uniform. Thank you very much. God bless you. Na mjisi mko nyumbani. Asanteni sana.
Let's give Mheshimiwa Moha another round of applause. Now, as we wind up, I just want us to listen to some of just 3 officers who also work very hard, and it's good that at least we get to appreciate the work they do despite the difficult circumstances. So I would want us to listen to the DCC from Vita Sub-County, Mr. Mwiwawi. Maybe you can stand up so that we bring the microphone. Where is Mwiwawi? The next would be the OCPD for Msambweni Sub-County, kwa Faisal, Mr. Gashoki. And
the Deputy County Commissioner for Mombasa, or what we know as Mvita. Ningependa kusema hivi, Mvita tumefanya kazi. Na lengo kabisa na shabaha ni kuregesha hadhi ya Mombasa vile imekuwa zamani. Tungependa kuona watalii wetu wakizuru mji na wakitembelea ule mji bila wasiwasi. Tatizo hili la madawa ya kulevya, tumeliona kwamba wazazi ndio hasa watu tumewalenga zaidi, kwa sababu wazazi wetu katika mji wa Mombasa ni wale wanatetea watoto wao. Ukimkamata mtoto Mombasa, utakuta kwamba mzazi anamtetea. Mzazi atashindwa kulipa karo ya shule, lakini kulipa faini ya kotini ama kutoa cash bail anaona ni rahisi. So kile ambacho tumefanya sisi kama kamati ya usalama, tumeamua kuwalenga wale watoto wakiwa shuleni, kwa sababu tunataka kupunguza ile demand. So tumetafuta mentors, tunawazungumzia watoto mashuleni na kuwahimiza kwamba wamebaki mashuleni, na kuona kwamba kupitia wale ambao wameenda vyuo vikuu waweze kuona kwamba hapa Mombasa pia tunaweza kutoa watoto ambao wamesoma na wakapata kufaulu katika maisha yao. So tunatumia hiyo mentorship program na tunaona kwamba inaendelea kutusaidia. Na mwisho tu ningependa kusema ni kwamba ukiingia Mombasa utaambiwa kwamba usijaribu, utauawa. Hiyo vitisho, ningependa kwamba maafisa wenzangu kwamba tusiogope vitisho kama vile, tufanye kazi kwa pamoja na wale kuelezea vizuri, tuwataje na we put them on the list of shame. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. OCPD wa Msambweni. Hebu tupeane microphone pale.
Thank you. His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocols observed, good afternoon. My name is Francis Kashuki, Sub-County Police Commander, Musabweni. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Deputy President and the government of Kenya for convening this very important meeting to address this menace which is becoming a national crisis. I think this meeting is very important. We are not here to blame one another, but to bring our heads together to find a way forward to save our generation. As a police officer, one type of policy is intelligence oriented, because without information you cannot make it. The other thing, we also need political goodwill. And it's so good now that we are seeing our politicians and leaders are coming and going to support police officers, because without you, we cannot make it. One of the challenges we are facing, one is lack of patriotism in our country. We need to love our country and love our people. Because if we don't love our country, then we are going to lose a generation. The other thing is lack of integrity. I don't see the need of acquiring wealth unless you lose your life. Let us love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So, whether you are a leader or a police officer, let us up our game and eradicate this vice. We have challenges. One is with the Licensing Committee, that is the work of the county government. The licensing is is done without due diligence. There is no inspection of bars. There is no involvement of all stakeholders. We are all supposed to come on board. Even the Minister of Education, they are there to assess the proximity of schools for the alcoholic liquor outlets.
Asante.
Excuse me, sir. The other one is about the ODP. I'm glad to hear that now they are going to assist us. So many cases are going unregistered because of lacking results from the government chemists. So if you are going to support us, we are going to win the war against this illicit blue and the other drugs. Then the judiciary. Please, can you ready for the judiciary to assist the members of the National Police Service? Because when you are arrested with one roll of bangi, the member says that one is for consumption, not for commercial. But drug is a drug, whether you are getting several rolls of bangi or not. So assist us in that. Those few remarks, thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Where is the SCC? And after the SCC, we'll listen to Mr. Abdallah, the OCS for Jomvu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocols observed. My name is Precious Damarandu, the Assistant County Commissioner, Matangoni Division in Kilifi North Sub-County in Kilifi County. One major challenge that has to be looked with a lot of sobriety of mind is the operation of mangues, which are Nazi dens, popularly known as mangues, the designated places where we And I'll give an example of where Amangwe, and tumesikia pia kutoka kwa gavana wa Kwale akisema kwamba hapa kuna rehabilitation center, nyuma yake kuna Mangwe. It's all over here in Coast, where we have the time of operating these Mangwes. Mlevi anakuja kwa boma, Mangwe iko kwa boma ya mahali watu wanaishi. Mlevi anakuja kwa boma, mama alikesha akiuza hii pombe, mtoto wa shule ameamka anaenda shule, lakini anaambiwa wewe serve huyu mlevi alafu uende shule. Akifika shule kuna Mangwe ambayo iko karibu na shule. Mlevi anaimba, mwalimu naye anafundisha. So it's important that the county government, just to complement the national law on liquor, we have a commitment from the county government that regulates these Mangwes. Specifically nimesema time, location, what to sell and to whom, ili tuweze kusaidia watu wetu. But generally, we are very grateful and we are committed as the Ngao team to ensure that our area, the Coast region, is free from drug and substance abuse. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam ACC. Mr. Abdallah.
Where we have come to discuss an idea whose time has come. And we have to accept that it is a menace in this whole country. And I appreciate so much on the action taken by our leader, that is His Excellency the President, in ensuring that we talk about this and we look for a way forward. No blame game. We ensure that we discuss on the way to assist our nation. Mombasa, as a county, this menace is there and we cannot lie to ourselves. And it is a commitment that we have to take as OCSs and leaders of stations. Let us take responsibility and see that we put our best foot forward to ensure that we fight this with the intensity that it requires. On the challenges, all of them has been mentioned, especially from the ODPP side, where we see that most of the cases are not registered because of the quantity. Judiciary being too lenient on the perpetrators, therefore not giving any deterring measures. They will come out of the court having paid fines and continue with the same business. Also on the county government, they have a responsibility to take, especially on matters of licensing. We see there is an abuse of this liquor, is it a hotel and restaurant, a bar and restaurant license, where the proprietors really abuse the same. We know the conditions that someone has to fulfill to get to register a business like that. But we see in Mombasa County, licenses are applied online. So even the one who is in the office does not even know where the business is located. So if we can go back to the basics, see that every licensing authority should go down to the ground to know what is going on. Where is this business located? Is it near a school, near a religious institution? Is it posing any security threat to the public who are there? Because we see abuse of these drugs and substance equally is directly proportional to the increase in crime rate in this county. So let us all do this together and we will achieve the best results that we can achieve. And if we talk about multifaceted approach, if we talk about multi-agency approach, let us not do it in offices. Let us not do it in forums. Let us do it on the ground. We will talk about it here, but when we go back to the ground, the donkey work is left to the OCSs. It is us who are going for raids. It is us who are doing all this. We are the ones who are gathering intelligence. It is us who are looking for information. Let us all take responsibility and see that we are moving this nation in the best direction that is possible. Thank you so much, and God bless everybody.
Now, on behalf of the religious community, I would want to invite an imam to say something. Is there an imam or a sheikh? Okay, any religious leader who wants to say something so that we close this. Can we give the microphone to the imam? Okay.
serikali hii ambayo imeongozwa na Mheshimiwa Rais William Ruto ndiyo itakuwa serikali ya kumaliza kutoka Kenya hii shida na aibu ya uhalifu na kutojali sheria.
We have to work hard so that we can justify the faith, the commitment, the sacrifice you have made to make us who we are.
I am really, Your Excellency, very impressed by the Kidik style of management. Akiamua ni hapa, hata kama